Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another round of the Rugby Championship. Last week's game, it was absolutely massive. The Springboks taking on the All Blacks, and this week we get to see it again. And there's a lot of history on the line between these two sides. For the Springboks, this would make it 4 wins in a row, their longest winning streak over the All Blacks in the professional era of a rugby union, whereas New Zealand, they have a pretty decent record at Cape Town Stadium, so they want to continue that. This would be 3 in a row for New Zealand if they were to win this game, something that they have never achieved at DHL Stadium here. So this is a very exciting game. We've got a big build up for it. We're going through the lineups, we're going through the stats, but this game getting closer for us to do the live commentary. But looking through, first of all, at the South African side, limited changes compared to what we did see last week in terms of that starting lineup, but there are a few that have just been scattered throughout, mainly due to injury, but also a big change in the 9-10 channel. Oxnard, Bongio Manambi and Frans Malaharba as the front row. Eben Etzebeth takes his spot back in the starting lineup. He did come off the bench last week after a little bit of an early injury concern, but he was phenomenal off the bench yet again. And someone else who played extremely well, Ruan Nokia, actually now leading the competition for the most lineouts won. Eben Etzebeth, he is in second, but he was first heading into round 3 of the Rugby Championship. Sia Khaleesi, the captain at number 6. I don't think many people saw that man being able to play in this contest after the way that his face looked in the post-press conference from last week's game, but he is all right, and he is going to be playing now in this big matchup. Peter Steph moves back to number 7. He's had a really rotational rugby championship, you could say. He started off playing 4, then he's played a little bit of 5, he's played 7. He's pretty much been anywhere in the locking and loose forward trio, but he does it so well and always steps up against the All Blacks. Grant Williams takes on the 9 jersey, normally the man who makes his way off the bench, with Andre Pollard the starting 10. It is crazy to think that only a few months ago, Andre Pollard looked like the surefire option in that number 10 jersey. Definitely with Mani Libok not having his best form. But then we saw Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu just really take off at international level. He's only had a few caps to his name, but already people are picking him as that future starting fly half. Damien Dialende and Jesse Kriel as the midfield combination. Dialende sensational last week, getting over the ball and winning those turnovers. Cheslin Colby shifts from the from the right wing to the left wing. That is due to the head knock of Kurtley Arendse, which brings in Kanan Moody out on the right and Willie LaRue at number 15. But that is the starting lineup for the Boks, ladies and gentlemen. Just quickly looking through the chat while we are at it, we've got a new channel member on the channel. It is Rekus. Thank you very much, mate, for hitting that membership button. Hi, Hamish. I think the Boks are going to win again. My score prediction is 34-25 for Freedom and Truth. And there as well, we will have to wait and see whether or not you are telling the truth. And that is going to be the score. I think a lot of people have got a relatively similar score to what we saw last week in terms of the amount of points that both of these sides have scored. Some of their stats are extremely interesting, though. We will be looking through it a little bit later on. But yeah, defenders beaten, I believe, is the one that is most intriguing, because I think both sides have exactly 69 defenders beaten up till this stage of the competition, even though they've played each other once, and also they played completely different opposition for the first 2 rounds of the comp. We have got nice to see Moody back. Will be interesting. Yeah, he's been doing very well in terms of the Curry Cup, so it's great to see him back at international level. Now, there were rumours that we could see Makazole Mapimpi take on a wing spot, but due to the birth of his child, it meant that he was going to be away, but does play in the game tomorrow up against the Bulls. And at the Curry Cup, how far away are we from kickoff? We are about 85 minutes, which sounds like a long time, but last week 90 minutes flew by as if it was like 30. We were looking through all the stats. We actually ran out of time last week, so we've got to be a little bit quicker, I think, in terms of getting to all my points before we get to kickoff. But there's a lot of excitement around this game, and some are calling it, it's going to be the biggest rematch of the year. Yes, we are going to get to see the likes of New Zealand play England in November. We sadly do not get to see the Springboks taking on the Irish in those November internationals, but this game, it's got a really big match feel. The fact that there is history on the line for both of these sides, the fact that South Africa could have their longest winning streak of the professional era up against New Zealand at the end of this one, it's a massive chance. And we've got Quagga, the golden sub from Bystander there as well. Yeah, Quagga Smith actually second equal on the leading try scorers of the Rugby Championship. So the man knows how to make an impact. The fact that he doesn't even get to start games anymore and he is still scoring tries, still getting turnovers, he's the type of player that you want to have in your side, and he's the type of player who is just as phenomenal off the bench as he is. And at the starting lineup, the atmosphere in the stadium is building up. A nice suit there, Hamish. It would have been better with a green tie. Well, once again, green tie, green screen don't really go together too well. Kind of ends up just completely disappearing. And what's up, Hamish in chat? Let's go, says Mr. All-In. We have got, hey, brother, looking forward to your call tonight, says HD in the chat as well. We have got the As the Game Live, says Skateboard with Scooter. So the game is starting in around an hour and 25 minutes time. We aren't able to show match footage. That is due to the licensing and, yeah, just the copyright infringement that comes with it. But the highlights will be straight up on the Rugby Championship YouTube channel pretty much straight after. So that is definitely where you can catch the highlights. I don't believe this game is being shown on SABC. Last week it was, but I don't know whether or not they got the follow-up licensing for this one as well. Random stat for your Sunday morning. Neither side have ever scored more than 29 points against each other in Cape Town. That is actually a very interesting stat. So the fact that a lot of people are predicting 30-something points for either of these sides in this contest does really make you wonder, are we going to get to see not just a bit of history in terms of the winner of this game, but also in terms of the record at Cape Town Stadium? Like I said, New Zealand have never won 3 in a row at the stadium. They've won 2 in a row many times, but they've never got the third. And of the last 5 games they've played at the stadium, I believe they've won 4. But of course, once again, that middle game is the one that did end up hurting them. 17-22 to the Box, says Liquor Man there. Shout out to Tasman. What a Shield game today. Yeah, phenomenal game for the Tasman Marcos. But the hard part about it for them is now they have to play Wellington next week. Hi, Hamish, please read my previous comments, says Marnus. I am trying my best, Marnus. I know you were complaining all through the last live stream that I wasn't quite getting to yours, but of course a lot of people already in the chat we have got there. Great to be back on the channel. What a game which is approaching us. Great anticipation for this game. Let's open no cards and injuries. Got the Box, says Marnus. The chances of no cards in this game are pretty unlikely because these two sides, I believe at the moment, the Springboks have got 4 yellow cards to their name, and New Zealand, they have got 2. So combined, these two sides have got 6, whereas in the Australia versus Argentina game, just for a little bit of reference, the game that is happening later on tonight, those sides combined have only got 2. Australia have both of those. Argentina yet to get a card in this Rugby Championship. But speaking of cards, penalties. We have seen New Zealand now become, after that last game, the most penalised team of the Rugby Championship. They gave away 14 penalties last week, compared to the Springboks, who gave away 5, which now makes them the most, I guess you could say, the most yellow-carded side in the comp, but also the best disciplined side. So when they give penalties, they make sure they get a good job of them, is pretty much the gist of it. Right there, and also with that physicality, you're always going to bring some sort of extra chance of a yellow card as well. If Sam Kane and Scott Barrett are playing, we'll definitely see some cards, says Zion. And also we've got there, Peter Steph going to hurt people today, says VG Man. Well, hopefully he doesn't hurt himself, because he still has a lot to do, not just for this Rugby Championship, but also the November Internationals. If he is in a Springbok kit, he's going to be a handy player to have out there on the field. They've never played at this stadium. All their previous games were played at Newlands, says it was there from Grant. And also, yep, 4 of the last 5 from New Zealand, or for New Zealand. 7-3 record is New Zealand's favour overall, says Kens, I should say. And hello, Hamish, says Burning Lash. Welcome in. I hope you are doing extremely well. What time is kickoff? Irish time. Well, I'm not in Ireland, but I believe if the time in Ireland at the moment is 2:39, which it might not be, but if it is, you've got another hour and 20 minutes. So I believe it would be a 4 p.m. kickoff in Ireland, if not maybe 5 p.m. like it is in South Africa. I heard the wind will be a factor today, says Sella, and it will be interesting to see how the kicking tee does go for both of these sides. South Africa going back to Andre Pollard. SABC won't be showing the game, says Hannah, which is a big shame, because I feel like, yes, it's great that they showed the first one, but now people want to see the second as well, definitely with the game being so close. So if only they had locked in a 2-match licensing deal rather than just the one, would have been a lot better. Like Sir Kerwin said, last game wins, says Francois. I just want 15 ABs on the field for 80 minutes, please, says Gordon. And it is a rarity, to be honest. We haven't seen it happen too often in recent times. Looking through at this New Zealand side, they will have 15 men taken to the field, including some positional switches compared to what we have seen for them in the past. Tamaiti Williams at number 1, Cody Taylor at 2, and Tyrell Lomax as the 3. So no changes there for the All Blacks across their front row. Tamaiti Williams. At the moment, New Zealand have the strongest scrum in the competition in terms of percentage of scrums won. But last week, you'd have to argue that South Africa had a little bit of an advantage over the New Zealanders, even though we didn't see a huge amount of advantages or penalties when it did come to scrum time. Cody Taylor having some decent throws over all of the line-out ball. New Zealand still the most successful line-out of the competition as well with 91.5. Tyrell Lomax, he had 14 tackles last week, so he will want to build upon that. He's actually the 3rd most tackler for New Zealand throughout last week's performance. Scott Barrett staying at number 5 with Tupavai as the number 5. I said Scott Barrett at 5, I meant 4, and of course he is the captain for this game. Wallace Satiti gets his first international start as a number 6. He played 8 up against the Fijians, but, you know, it's one of those ones that this is a massive game to say to Satiti, we're going to make you into a different position for this contest, because Luke Jacobson, Samapeni Finau, Ethan Blackadder, Dalton Papali, like I said in my preview, those 4 men probably get the nod at 6 ahead of Satiti in a regular situation. But obviously Scott Robertson's got something planned, and it could be the speed that Satiti offers. Maybe he wants that physicality and that gritty grindiness that he can bring, just like he did for the Chiefs throughout Super Rugby Pacific. But he will be partnered at number 7 with Sam Cane and number 8, Ardie Savea. Sam Cane making the most tackles out of any All Black in the last week's game with around 17. Ardie Savea, he was also in top 3 for tackles made. Cortez Ratama and Damian McKenzie, a new 19 combination that hasn't been utilised as much as some anticipated for the All Blacks. I believe we saw it up against the Fijians only briefly because of the injury that Cortez Ratama did sustain. But Geordie Barrett and Rico Ioane, they have been the stock standard for New Zealand in that midfield combo. Mark Talia moves out onto the left wing due to Caleb Clark having an injury. Then on the right wing, it is back to Severis. His last game was up against Argentina. He did have a really tough game in terms of trying to find that rhythm, find that momentum, but he can be a clinical player, and he has to be, because he's up against Chisel and Colby for this contest. Will Jordan gets his 2nd start, I believe it is, at 15 for New Zealand. The last time he started as the 15, he was unable to score a try, yet he is so clinical in terms of his percentages of chance of scoring. So maybe this game can break that. Well, it's a 1-match drought, isn't it? Like, it's not a very long one, but for Will Jordan, that seems like an eternity since he did cross the try line. We have got the hello from Sydney, says, Bite, welcome in. What's the South Africa squad just got here, says Bristol Boys. So they've made quite a few changes compared to last week in terms of that backline, but the forward pack pretty much the same with the exception of Eben Etzebeth moving into that number 4 jersey. Backline consists of Grant Williams and Andre Pollard as the 9-10, Chisel and Colby out on the left wing, Dealende and Jesse Creel in the midfield, with Moody slotting in as 14, and then number 15, I should say, it is Vili LaRue. We need Satiti at 6, Tutu at 8, and Hakuna Matata at number 7. Who is Hakuna Matata? Is that Ardie Savea, or who is that as the number 7? I think we should have kept last week's squad. Technically, we won if you take into account some 50-50 calls, says Dan's Pans Man. Overall, I think, like, that's the thing. They were always going to have to make that change of Satiti, or someone was going to have to go in at 6 because of the Ethan Blackadder injury. Talia, he was always going to get him because of the Clark injury. But they have made some bold calls, and I believe that's to try and shore up their bench a little bit more compared to last week, because you could say some 50-50 calls didn't quite go their way, but also something that really hurt the All Blacks was off the bench. They didn't have that impact that the Springboks were able to bring, and both sides actually going with 5-3s in this contest. And having Lukanyuan late in the game, having Quagga Smith, Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu, you need to have someone like a Bowden Barrett off the bench for the All Blacks just to try and shut that down as quickly as possible. But that is a lot easier said than done. Just realised I haven't been subscribed, says Zion. You have been here for a very long time, Zion, so I'm quite surprised that you'd never click that button, but I guess welcome to the Kiwi Lads community. And good afternoon, you are fantastic with your commentary, says Jeremy Yuckums. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciate it. And of course, we are going to be doing the commentary all throughout this Rugby Championship. So if anyone new to the channel is new, which of course you would be if you were new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And for the South Africans, Brad Binder only managed 7th place in the MotoGP. San Marino sprint race just finished. Says Bruce. Well, there you go. Does New Zealand also have subscriptions to different broadcasters like in England? Or do you also have one broadcaster for everything? Sadly, we do have multiple. So we've got TVNZ, which is free to air, which is great. But that's how I can watch some of the URC. That's normally the South African games, as well as the occasional Irish derby. Then I would also, this is just rugby, by the way, normally I'd also need URC TV to be able to watch the overseas games that aren't involving South African sides. I need Sky Sport to be able to watch the All Blacks as well as pretty much Super Rugby, anything like that. And then I've also had to get Stan Sport in the past to then watch the games that aren't being shown in New Zealand. And I watch them on Stan. So, like, it's quite tricky to try and find where certain games are taking place. But overall for New Zealand, it's Sky and TVNZ seem to be the two main ones. More try with obstructions, so no. New Zealand didn't technically win. If ref was strict, says you guys. Although I did see also a rolling maul later on in that game. Like, not to bring it up because, of course, I feel like that game's been talked about enough in terms of the refereeing. But there was also a rolling maul that the exact same situation that New Zealand had in that one, South Africa also had. But people haven't been talking about that one. But it's one of those games, like I said, it's in the past. We can look at it all we want as a rugby fan or anyone looking at that game, or you can look forward to the future, which is just around the corner, and we've got another game that we get to see these two sides take on each other. So I'm looking forward to this game no matter what happened last week. It's one of those ones, it's a new challenge, it's a new opportunity for some of these young players. New Zealand, maybe this is the game that they need to shore up a couple changes, such as Cortez Ratama. Maybe they're finally realising he could be the starting nine if he steps up in this matchup. Does Razor have something up his sleeve playing Satiti at 6? I think it is definitely one of those ones that he wants that pace and a little bit of power. We have good there changes from channel to channel. I forget, does this one want me to like and subscribe, says James Evans. I mean, it is appreciated. I always say, like, if you guys want to, you can. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to, I'm not going to hold it against you. Like, still feel free to join in with the chat. Some people don't like the fact that they get so many notifications of when we're uploading videos as well as streaming. So if you don't like that, you can silence the bell. I won't be offended. But just know that anytime there's like a big international game of rugby or the URC, Super Rugby, Sevens, anything like that, we will more than likely be live. So if you want to come have a chat, you're more than welcome. Hi Hamish, I believe we should not underestimate New Zealand as they are a class outfit. But also I believe that my Bok team have a BMT, or have the BMT needed for this game. Go the Box, says Clinton. And so bad ABs, says Tato in there as well. So bad ABs. In what regard? Like, as in, like, the lineup that they've gone with, the way that they play, you got to bring some sports or some sort of specificness, Tato, so that we can expand upon it. Thanks so much, says Balami in there. Go the Bok, says Peter. And also time for a bit of Afrikaans. Last week, Quagga Smith draw Ethan Blackett are only tooth. This week, Peter Steph will make Wallace Satiti desire his mum. Wait, so he's gonna make... Sorry, we have to break this one down a little bit. You've said that Peter Steph will make Wallace Satiti desire his mum. So is that like something that Peter Steph is known for, desiring his own mother? Or what are you trying to say? You're saying he's going to want to have a bit of a suck on a teat or something? Is that what you're getting at, Piet? A worried Bok, says Petrus there. Please subscribe. We need to get the numbers up for Hamish. He does a sterling job all year rounds. You're reading that comment, says Karate Kids and Mum's Titty. However, I've got there. Peter Steph says, start, don't stop reading. That it's vulgar, says Francois. Well, I don't know the Afrikaans side of things. I can read the English part, but not too sure about the other words. I think that's what he's referring to, that he's saying Satiti might need a bit of milk after the game. I'm worried as a Box, says for old log. And there as well, but we will look through at the benches for this game, ladies and gentlemen. Looking through, South Africa have gone with that 5-3 split rather than the 6-2 that they did go with last week, but it involves Malcolm Marx, Gerhard Stennekamp, and also Vincent Koch there as the number 18. Quagga Smith finds himself at 19 with Eldrick Lowe as 20. Now, Eldrick Lowe has been putting out some phenomenal stats throughout this rugby championship. Of course, Quagga Smith also falls into that category after having 2 tries for himself over the last few games. But Eldrick Lowe, if it wasn't for Jesper Wiese, it was talked about before this rugby championship that this had to be the one where Eldrick Lowe found his feet and wanted to step up in that number 8 jersey, and I believe he's done that. But the problem is now Jasper Wiese is back, and that's not a bad problem to have because he played phenomenally last week as well. But Jaden Hendrickse, he will get the chance as the 21, no Kobus Reinach for this game. 22, Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu, and then Lukhanyo Wam as the number 23. You know your side's doing something right when Lukhanyo Wam can't get starting minutes, because it wasn't too long ago that man was nominated for Rugby Player of the Year and debatably should have won it. So the fact that he isn't in the starting side but instead coming off the bench alongside, when you look across from him, it's Beauden Barrett, that is a pretty insane couple players to have later on in the game. But for New Zealand, it is Asafa Moa, Alpha Tuanga Fassi and Fletcher Null. Sam Derry and Luke Jacobson makes his long-awaited return after an injury earlier on in the Rugby Championship. In fact, I don't even think he's played. I think it was actually up against either Fiji or England that he did suffer that injury. TJ Perenara, he did start the last game. He also annoyed Andrew Brace, the referee. He will find himself instead off the bench for this one. Anton Leonard-Brown, 22, and then Beauden Barrett at number 23. But those are the starting lineups and reserves for these two sides. We have got there, Quagga Smith is always there, says Thato, that is true. And I always say it, you can't really have a bench without Quagga Smith at the moment when you look at the South African side. Like, the impact that he brings, like, you know that he's a 7 superstar from the past when you see him out there on the field. And normally he's only given about 7 or 14 minutes, but he makes the changes. Pretty sure that dude was wasted. Amish says, Karate, there was something wrong with him, I'd say. He means he'll be crying for his mummy, says Matthew. And there, Wallace is a good player, says Intel. And normally, like, Wallace Satiti, yes, he hasn't had a lot of international experience, so he hasn't really proven himself at this level yet. But for the Chiefs, he was a player who got thrown into the starting lineup and just cemented himself as one of the key players for the Chiefs throughout Super Rugby Pacific. He had impact after impact, making the most tackles for the Chiefs, having a lot of running meters, a lot of defenders beaten, and that's what actually got him scouted into the All Blacks setup initially. It was ahead of Satutu, and that said a lot. So if he has a big game here, I think that's exactly what the All Blacks are after, so that they can show this is why we selected him, and this is why we believe he has got some future chance. Did you see the video of Caleb Clark waving to Springbok fans after the game? One of them threw their beer at him. Says Zion, I did not, but it doesn't really surprise me. Like, at the end of the day, if he's been willing to throw a beer, that means he's consumed enough of them to probably already be past his limit anyway. Because, like, at a stadium, the cost of beverages as well as food is uncanny. So, like, at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're not wasting those beverages. Definitely not throwing them at people. Your best viewing figures up for South African games, says James Evans. We have had some big numbers overall. It also helps that South Africa do make it through 2 big contests, such as like the Rugby World Cup, all throughout those later games. Of course, always having the Springboks involved in them. They have so much bloody depth in South Africa at the moment. You just have to applaud them, says Kens. And best commentary, says Michael Cork. Thank you very much, mate. And I don't rate Jaden Hendrickse. He telegraphs his distribution from the ruck. A blindside could read it before it happens, says you guys. And that's the criticism at the moment, I believe, that TJ Perenara has had quite a bit of from New Zealand fans. They feel like he doesn't quite have that elusiveness or that pace. I'm curious to see how Hendrickse does here, just because he's been out for so long. And I'm trying to remember, did he have any minutes in that Rugby World Cup, or was it before the Rugby World Cup that we saw him taken out? I know they had 4 halfbacks for that World Cup, and I think he was one of them. But I can't remember how many games he actually played, unfortunately. I know that Reinach had a few minutes. I know that de Klerk, as well as Grant Williams. I think Williams was actually playing a couple games at wing throughout that World Cup. But how many minutes did Jaden Hendrickse get throughout that World Cup, ladies and gents? Do let me know. Sorry, Hamish, but you've skipped my comment. Please read my previous comment. It's about Peter Steftatoy. Says Manus. One moment. We'll scroll back. We're going. I just love how Peter Steftatoy, just every game, no matter what position you put him in to play, he just every game, despite his position, puts 100% intensity, and what a player to have in your side. Exactly right. Like, Peter Steftatoy is one of those guys that, like, no matter where you have him in that fullback, with the exception of the front row, you probably shouldn't try him there. Like, he is going to be one of those guys that will give you at least in the top 5, I would say, for tackles made, if not the top 3. He'll get a turnover a game. He'll also have some really strong running meters throughout a contest. So, you just can't go wrong by having him in the lineup, like anywhere in the lineup, even if it was for some reason off the bench alongside Quagga Smith. Can you imagine that impact? Just for a second, think about having Quagga Smith and Peter Steph off a bench. You just give up. You'd forfeit the second half if the two were making their way onto the field. It's like how they had Etzebeth and Quagga last week. That's just formidable. Quagga gets easy more than 7 minutes, says Bacon Pancake. He does normally, yes, but the reference was more so with the fact that normally he's used to having to try and perform in 7 minutes from that 7 side of things, and from that he's brought an intensity to his game, which is all-out pace and trying to make the most impact in a short amount of time, just like my sex life. This game will probably be won by the team that wants it the most, says AB's Tragic. I believe so. I think that both of these sides have something to prove coming into this contest. The Boks want to say, look, last game was close, but we will be dominant this week. New Zealand want to try and get back on the winning path. Even though the Rugby Championship is almost already won, they'd like to put in that one last big shove towards it, because if they beat Australia twice, that puts the big pressure on, and then South Africa, all the pressure is on them to be able to beat Argentina twice, one in Argentina and one in South Africa. I feel like I've been blocked, says Razor. I don't think you have been. It's just there's too many messages coming through and I'm really struggling to read them all. We have got that 3 a.m. I think is kick-off. That is exactly right. So 1 hour, 3 minutes time before the start of this game. It is absolutely flying by. We've hardly even jumped into the stats at this point, but there's plenty still coming up. Are you from South Africa? I am not. No, I am from New Zealand. I'd love to be sitting in the stadium one day, but for now, I am here. And I guess it's kind of good in a way, because I've got the lockdown outfit going on. Some of you will know what that is. Pretty much when you're in a business meeting during lockdown, you know, your business up top, party down the bottom. I don't think it's a party, but I'm wearing shorts. So I don't know why. It's 7 degrees at the moment here, so I should probably have some pants on, but nah, just wearing the shorts for this one. Love your content, says Bacon Pancake. Thank you very much. Good morning, o'clock, or afternoon, evening. And Stupid O'Clock says Nov Mum there as well. But looking through at what has happened in this Rugby Championship so far, it's been 27 minutes and we haven't even shown the table. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been slacking, but the Springboks, they have certainly not been. 3 wins from 3 with a points differential of plus 48. 14 points on the board. The only game they weren't able to get a bonus point win in was their last match up against New Zealand. New Zealand receiving the bonus point from that contest, so that bumped them up to 6 points. Argentina on 5, Australia at the bottom of the table on 4, but they were able to get themselves the win last week, which in a way halted the chance of Argentina lifting this Rugby Championship unless something, and I mean something crazy, happens for the last 2 weeks of the competition. But South Africa, if they get themselves some points here, even if it was 4, that would be enough to secure the Rugby Championship for 2024. Whereas if New Zealand were to win this game, and if they were able to win it comfortably, let's just say, they'd move up to 11 points. If they won both their games up against Australia, Springboks only win 1 up against Argentina, that is the only favourable way for New Zealand to actually be number 1. So it just shows how far ahead at the moment the Springboks are. And I mean, when you look through at the table and you see 3 wins when everyone else has 1, you can see exactly why the Boks are on top. But looking through at what they've done in this Rugby Championship, they were able to beat the Australians 33 points to 7, a fantastic performance for the opening round of the competition. The next week, it was a rainy game. It made it difficult to try and get momentum flowing, but the Springboks still doing it well, 30 points to 12, only conceding 1 try across their first 2 games. Then up against New Zealand, a high-scoring one. Last week, 31 points to 27. Some fantastic impact from the Springboks bench. A lot of people felt, for the first half anyway, the Boks weren't able to find their rhythm. But as soon as Etzebeth, as soon as Quagga Smith, Andre Pollard, Grant Williams, those men made their way off the bench, that is when it started getting very intense. And in the end, the Springboks getting the victory. For New Zealand, they were defeated by Argentina, and those points that they could have got in that game, because they should have won it, theoretically, they weren't clinical enough though, and losing it by 8, but those points could be the difference in this Rugby Championship, depending on what happens in this contest. 38 points to 30, the win for Argentina. And I want to go out there and say 38 points, is that the highest score we've seen for the Argentines up against New Zealand in terms of points for an individual contest? I feel like it's got to be near it, because that is a large margin. And at the end of the day, you know, like that game, they really showed what kind of grit that this Argentine side have. And we've seen it before. We saw it throughout that Rugby World Cup, the way that they dug in and got through to the semi-finals. And it was actually a semi-finals rematch the week after, 42 points to 10. The end score for New Zealand, making a lot of differences in the way that they played. They went with a very similar side to that first match. This is a very different side, though, than what we saw last week up against the Boks. 31 points to 27. The Springboks winning it. The All Blacks after their redemption at Cape Town Stadium. And kicking from a distance for the Poles, probably not easy in the wind, says Bruce. And also, I should mention, they haven't got the altitude to be able to help them out in terms of those few extra meters. And I'm curious to see what that does for the kicking throughout this game, just the general territorial kicks, that is. Jady only played 60 minutes total in the World Cup over the two games. I know he was against Romania. Can't remember the other CSU guys. It might have been up against Tonga, perhaps, as the other game that Hendricks did get a bit of a chance. Sorry, Hamish, I keep reposting comments. Hope you catch one. A bit of interesting trivia. The World Cup started next week, a year ago. Only 3 years until the next World Cup. It's crazy to think, isn't it? The fact that we are already almost 365 days from when that Rugby World Cup got underway, and it doesn't feel like 11 months. Like, we did every game of that Rugby World Cup on the channel, no matter the hour, whether it was a 1 a.m., a 3 a.m., a 5 a.m., a 7 a.m., a 9 a.m. kickoff here in New Zealand. Every weekend we did 8 games or whatever it was, except for, of course, the playoff games. And it just feels really weird that it's almost a full year ago. We should start Scooter at 6, Derry, Muvai to 6. Scooter and Derry, Muvai to 6, Sam Kane 7, and Savia as the number 8. Are you streaming on other platforms as well? I am not just YouTube at this point. Apologies for Elon Musk. What did Elon Musk do? Is that because he's like got ties with South Africa? Was he born in South Africa, or he's just got South African parents of some regard? Leka people, let's get the hype up. Watching from Zambia. Thanks so much. Like and subscribe. Says Yako in there as well. But looking through, ladies and gentlemen, at what is still to come in this Rugby Championship. South Africa have got 2 games up against Argentina, one of which taking place on the 21st of September for you guys in South Africa. That will be an 11 p.m. kickoff. Now, all these times next to me are New Zealand time, just to keep you informed there. Then they have got a game the week after, that one taking place in South Africa. And by then, I would like to think that the Rugby Championship would be secure for the South Africans. But the question is, how many points can they get throughout this overall competition? Australia versus New Zealand, that will be the next game for the Kiwis, and then they have got the Australians the week after, that one in New Zealand. The Bledisloe Cup on the line, of course, for those two, but the Freedom Cup currently on the line for the Springboks and the All Blacks. The Springboks, they're in a little bit of a drought when it comes to the Freedom Cup. They have been long awaiting the opportunity to win this cup back, about 15 years. Sia Khaleesi, he had that brutal injury last week, but he still wants to play this one to secure not just the Rugby Championship, but also secure the Freedom Cup for the people of South Africa. And there is a massive chance, if the Springboks play well, looking through at their lineup, it's just going to be extremely difficult for New Zealand to stop that from happening. Black Ferns play England next week. Early start for us New Zealanders, says Noam. Good afternoon, morning from South Africa. Go the Box, says Ben. And he's South African dual citizenship, says Conrad. And there as well, that 38 conceded to Argentina was the most points New Zealand has ever conceded in New Zealand. That's pretty wild, says Kens. And also, people must all like and subscribe. Small reward for the commentary you provide. Every World Cup game, every Rugby Championship game, says Joss Pike there as well. But yeah, anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 54,000 subscribers, and there is a slight chance that we can hit it by the end of today. So if you do want to help us get there, it is, of course, greatly appreciated. This game only around 55 minutes away, ladies and gentlemen. We have been talking flat out for 35 minutes, but I have got some more interesting stats about this contest and the head-to-head between these two sides. At the moment, in the Rugby Championship, New Zealand have scored 13 tries so far. South Africa have scored the 12. Heading into that game last week, New Zealand and South Africa both having themselves the 9 tries. So we saw New Zealand score 4 last week. We saw South Africa get the 3. And just to let you know who scored those tries, for South Africa, it was Quagga Smith, Grant Williams, as well as the first try of the contest being scored by Bongi Umbanambi for New Zealand. We did see Caleb Clark get 2 later on in the contest. We also saw the try for... Who scored the last try for New Zealand? I know that Cody Taylor got the first one. I can't even remember who got the last one. Caleb Clark got 2. There's one more that I can't think of off the top of my head. That's pretty bad, but I feel like I've looked at that many stats this week that my brain has gone completely blank. For the clean breaks, South Africa have got a bit of an advantage. 5 in total, 341 clean breaks throughout. Oh, sorry, that can't be right. Can it? Is it clean breaks? No way. If that's clean breaks, that's an insane stat. 341. That can't be right. What's that one for? We've got to get the official wording on that one. One moment. Okay, it's not clean breaks, it's carries, ladies and gentlemen. Tell you what, I was thinking, geez, we're not seeing tackles made if that's the amount of clean breaks. But no, carries throughout this competition. South Africa have had the extra 5. In terms of the metres carried, South Africa at the top of the competition with 1,297 in total, and then New Zealand having 1,110. Defenders beaten is identical between these two sides, 69 for the South Africans, 69 for New Zealand. Turnovers, there's been a lot of them throughout this competition, and someone who brings a lot in terms of turnovers won last week in particular was Damien Dialende, managing to get 2 or 3 throughout that game. Surely they would have more points than that. If that meant clean breaks, that is correct, yes. Freedom Cup is so-called democracy. Says a mumbo jumbo there. It's a cup for freedom. Says a doctor. I think that's for the explanation of the Freedom Cup. But pretty much it is contested between New Zealand and South Africa. To be able to retain, you only have to win one of the games. To be able to win it from your opposition, you need either 1 win and a draw, or you need 2 victories, which is what South Africa are going for right here. Great day, or good day for great rugby. Says Trevor, yeah, it's going to be an epic game just around the corner between these two sides. A lot of these men who are taken to the field have got massive ability of being able to score tries. At the moment, the leading try scorer in the competition is Caleb Clark. He has got 3, but there are a lot of men right on his heels. Will Jordan, Malcolm Marks, Kurtley Arendse, who unfortunately will not be playing in this game, and also Quagga Smith have all got 2 tries throughout this rugby championship. South Africa to win by 20, says JP. That is a very bold prediction. So I'd assume in that case you are saying they'll break the record for the most points scored at the stadium between these two sides, JP. If that is the case, you come to South Africa, do a few shows from here. We like your channel and insights, says Conrad. I've considered it. The main reason I don't, though, is because of the cost. Like, to get from New Zealand to South Africa, I think is over $1,000 just off the get-go. But one day, I would like to be able to go to South Africa and then experience a few of the different stadiums. And there as well, South Africa by 100, to be honest, says Redline. They should make it about points difference in the 2-game series, make it more exciting, says Drensden. And I feel like it's a little bit similar in some regards to the Bledisloe Cup with the new format. Sadly, they've gone back to 2 games for that competition, although they are bringing in possibilities of New Zealand versus South Africa tours in the future. I think that's taken place from 2026 onwards, so perhaps we see the Freedom Cup incorporated into that, and perhaps that is where we see a 3-match series for the Cup or something along those lines. In terms of the lineouts, ladies and gentlemen, South Africa still have the lowest lineout win percentage, I believe, almost in the competition. Oh no, sorry, that's scrums. South Africa at the moment are 3rd in the lineouts won for the competition with 87.1. Now, that game where it was Grobelaar doing the throwing did heavily take that down by a few. But for South Africa, they have got 2 very notable locks in the starting lineup, one of which working his way towards the most caps ever for a Springbok, and that is Eben Etzebeth. He's only a couple games away, but he's had 16 lineouts won so far throughout this rugby championship. Ruan Nokia, though, he is at the top of the bunch. 18 lineouts have found that man's hands. He's also got a few line-out steals so far throughout the competition. For New Zealand, they have mixed it up a little bit more, but their most targeted man in the line-out, believe it or not, is actually Ardie Savia. And I feel like not many people would anticipate that, mainly because, of course, you've got your locks. But the reason that they don't go to the locks that much, I believe, is because you've got guys like Eben Etzebeth, like Peter Steph-Toy and like Rua Nokia, who are getting very, very good at getting those turnovers right in the important line-out moments. South Africa is going to win by 1,000, says Diago there. And Ola Hamish, my mum and me here, supporting you in the All Blacks, says La Chica. Well, thank you very much for being here once again. Hi from Mauritius. Ireland Go the Box says more digital media. And also Let's Go the Box says Gaz. As South Africa pretty much already won the championship, no chance they drop both games versus Argentina. I mentioned about it a little bit ago. The only way that anyone can really get ahead of them is if New Zealand were to win this game, plus their 2 up against Australia, and then South Africa were to lose 1 up against Argentina. But New Zealand would have to win their games with bonus points, and South Africa wouldn't be able to for that to happen. So they've got one hand firmly grasped on this Rugby Championship trophy. It's just about getting that other hand on there, and if they win this game, they will have that Rugby Championship in their grasp. You never want to face next weekend after beating them the week before, says Cesar. And would be nice to have you here, Hamish. Appreciate your valuable input, says Clifford. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. And Mostert was the perfect target versus Ireland, says Jimbo. And that's the thing, like, Mostert at the moment is away, right? Then you've also got, RG Snyman, he's not playing at the moment in that locking duo. Ludiacha, people are sometimes forgetting about that man, but eventually, hopefully, we do get to see him back at international level. So then, who are the players in the locking duo at the moment that you can get rid of? I don't think you can get rid of Nokia, because he's playing well enough to keep his spot, and he could be that future talent. Yes, you've got a few experienced guys in the locking duo for South Africa, but you want to bring those new guys in and slowly build up that next World Cup squad. And I feel like Rua Nokia at the moment is definitely someone who could be in that squad. Welcome to Cape Town All Blacks. What is your prediction for South Africa versus ABs? Says Bokang. I gave my prediction on my preview, and I believe, if I'm correct, I went 29-26 in favour of the Springboks. 49 minutes until kickoff, says Matthew Lang. It is getting closer and closer by the minute. Anyone else here watching the Louis Vuitton Cup? I am not. No, I don't see Lud coming back. That shoulder is cooked, says you guys. And yeah, it is a shame for Lud Diacha, just because, in a way, I feel like if he was to retire from international rugby, it feels like it's unfinished, if that makes sense, because he didn't get his nice big final moment. Instead, it was the injuries that did hurt him. Is the game going to stream live here? Sadly, due to licensing, any match footage or audio gets you taken straight off YouTube. You won't actually be able to find it on YouTube unless it's an illegal stream showing the game. But we are going to be doing the play-by-play commentary, letting you know exactly what is happening all throughout the contest. So if you aren't able to find, I guess, a different stream that does have the live stream of the contest, then, be sure to pop back in. Sadly, though, due to that licensing, we aren't able to show anything without getting the potential of being sued. Why do we only have like 15% likes to the viewers? Smash that like button. While you're doing that, sub to the channel so you can come back for more, says Pads Ablaze. Yeah, anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Man, I get nervous when the box are the favourites. We're best when they write us off, says Nix. And yeah, it might be a little bit of uncharted territory in some regards when it comes to the recent rivalry between these two sides, but I feel like South Africa being the favourite over the last 2 or so years, it's something that a lot of people have to get used to. You know, they aren't a side that are easily beaten. They're a side that know exactly how to win when it matters most, whether that's by 1 point or whether it's by 4, like we saw last week. But it's going to be very intriguing to see how they come into this game at Cape Town Stadium. Their squad is so strong, and their lineup for this game is absolutely phenomenal. And Lud has a lot of rugby in him. I don't think he has another World Cup left. Yeah, I think the next World Cup's just a little bit too far away for Lud Diacha, but I could still see him in either a November, July internationals, or maybe a Rugby Championship again around the corner. Definitely if there are so many gaps in the locking duo in terms of injury. I think a lot of them are soon to be back, such as that Mostert injury. I think he was going to be out for, I want to say it was like 8 weeks or something like that, and that was in July, so we're slowly getting closer to Franco Mostert being back. But yeah, like, it's not a bad thing to have so many great players that you can't squeeze into a side, just because at the end of the day, that means that the guys who are in your squad, theoretically, are that little bit stronger. Hello, Hamish Springbok all the way. Says Dion there. Hey, being labelled the favourites against the All Blacks, says Sakabula. And the chat as well. Nonetheless, we will quickly look through at what is to come for these two sides, ladies and gentlemen, in their international fixtures. I mentioned how November internationals, they are coming up later on in the year. Scotland are the first challenge for South Africa, so pretty much the only game that they are playing in November that isn't a rematch of some extent from the Rugby World Cup is the match up against the Welsh, but they did play Wales earlier on this year as the warm-up game before the July internationals, but they will be playing the Scottish first, then they are playing England, and then they are playing Wales. Now, these times are all New Zealand time. If you want to convert it to South African time, 7:10 p.m. on Sunday, 8:40 p.m. on Saturday, and then 8:40 p.m. on Saturday for those contests. Then for New Zealand, they have got quite a busy November international window this year. They have got Japan and a game to be determined in terms of the time starting, but that is on the 26th of October. They have got England. They have then got the Irish, which of course I think a lot of people can agree that is the rematch that South Africa want. But for now, New Zealand do have to go into that one. France versus New Zealand, another rematch for New Zealand from their Rugby World Cup. And then they have got the Italians to close out their November international. So quite a hectic one. Like I said, for New Zealand. South Africa, only the 3 games, which feels really weird. I feel like we would have loved to see one more game in there. If it was up against the Irish, a lot of people would have been happy, but sadly, we do have to wait that little bit longer. But throughout the rest of the Rugby Championship, South Africa have got 2 games up against Argentina coming up. Now, next week, there are no games of the Rugby Championship. We do have to wait an extra week before we get to see sides taken to the field once more, but then they will be playing in Argentina, and then their next game after that, it is up against the Argentines, this time in South Africa, as the last game of the Rugby Championship. New Zealand's Bledisloe Cup matches, they are just around the corner. They are taking on the Aussies, first of all, in Australia, an early start, which will be a 7:45 a.m. kickoff for you guys in South Africa, and then that 9:05 a.m. kickoff for that next game. But this Rugby Championship game, it is just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen, from kicking off. Only around 43 minutes away. Can we watch the chat? Or is it just a chat? It is sadly just a chat, mainly because of licensing. Like, it's very hard to find the game on YouTube, like I mentioned, because normally Sanzar and Stan or whoever it is will take it down pretty much straight away to try and stop copyright infringement. I think it's going to be a close match, 16-12 to the box with Pollard and Billy in. A defensive, or I assume a defensive masterclass here with a lot of penalties and fewer tries, says the O. And yeah, that's the thing. Like, yes, last week was a very high scoring game between these two sides, but like you said, there is a chance that we see a lower scoring contest between these two teams here because you've got a few more of those experienced guys. Although I would argue, I don't know if this is a popular opinion or not, so do let me know if I'm completely wrong. But of what I've seen of Sasha Feinberg Ngomezulu, I would almost argue that his defence, from what we've seen in this Rugby Championship, currently is stronger than Andre Pollard's. Now, that is, like I said, a very bold claim, and I think that Willie Leroux, just to clarify, his defence, I believe, is better than Apalele Fasi's at the moment, currently. But I think that Sasha Feinberg Ngomezulu has been really underrated in terms of the amount of tackles that he's been able to make up against some very challenging players charging straight at him throughout this Rugby Championship, whether it is going to be a Geordie Barrett or whether that's someone for the Australians like a Hunter Paisami or a Lena Cattell. I think he's been very strong. How do you feel about the AB's on-field leadership? Scooter does not seem like an iconic AB's captain. I agree. I think that the fact that the All Blacks have 3 or 4 vice-captains pretty much tells you what you need to know about the fact that maybe there isn't quite that leadership role being fulfilled to the maximum potential. We actually had a bit of a discussion about it on one of the predictions, and it was myself and Rugby Itch, and he was saying that he's more of a McCaw type figure in Scott Barrett and the way that he captains, how he just does things, he leads from the front, but he doesn't actually talk a lot, whereas if they had someone like an Ardie Savia as captain, that's normally when you get the guy who's really talking to the side, firing them up, getting them into a huddle, and I think that that is the big difference. Good day, I'm a new member, 92 years old. I'm a bona fide Kiwi lad. Do I pay to watch in addition to my membership fee? Sign up fee says one. I did see your comment and I did reply to it last week. The membership is completely separate to any sort of like coverage of the game. One, so the membership for the channel just gives you access to the exclusive emojis and helps support the channel. So if you do want to refund that because it's not what you thought it was, I completely understand, and I would say go for it. But yeah, to be able to watch the game, you still need to go through proper broadcasters such as DSTV or Super Sport, which I think are the same thing, or wherever you are in the world, being able to watch that way. But for the YouTube membership, it is just the YouTube side of things with the emojis and whatnot. Although I am a Box supporter, I'm not convinced that they will win. The ABs and have always been a team that will test you to the limit, says Clifford. It's going to be a crack at this one, says Mashihu. And there, and what's the point of the ranking system? If South Africa lose, they go second. Does this matter, says Ander? And it is definitely it's a setup situation that when you're number one, it actually really hurts you. Definitely you're at home and you're the number one side in the world, because New Zealand have the potential of gaining 1.7, I think it is, on the overall standings, whereas South Africa to win this game can only gain 0.31, and that is if they win by more than 15 points. So if New Zealand win this game, even by one, they will go and knock South Africa out of the number one spot in the world, and they will go below Ireland. So it's crazy to think how much it can change in just a very short amount of time. But I guess that's the point of the world rankings, in a way, to try and create a little bit of interest rather than one side being stuck at the top the whole time. But South Africa have had that number one spot for quite some time now, and they will not want to give it up here. If they were to lose to Argentina in any of those games, once again, that would plummet them down. But if they can win this game and they can win those up against Argentina, they should remain at number one till, I would say, at least the November, if not July internationals next year, with the exception of maybe the Six Nations, depending on how the Irish go. You never want to face next weekend after beating them the week before. Says Cesar, Sasha was my man of the match last time. His control of the last 15 was beyond his years. Says Jimbo, yeah, he's just a phenomenal talent. Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu. And he's so young. He's had less than 10 caps for the Springboks. How quick will they take off Willie for Sasha? I don't think it will be that quick, to be honest. I think that Sasha, like, yes, if New Zealand are really firing in this game, they may have to make those adjustments relatively quickly. But I can see Willie LaRue getting 55, 60 minutes in this game. And Pollard probably the same, just because those guys have been lacking a little bit of time out there on the field after the way that the younger guys are playing. But it's not a bad competition to have within your squad. You know, you want to have everyone playing to their absolute best so that they then have to push each other to go to that next level. And I feel like that's why Handré Pollard needs a massive game here. That's why Willie LaRue, I think, is going to need a big game, because or else then we could see Apalele Fasi come in and take that spot from him. So it's all about what you do when you take to the field, definitely if you're an experienced player, because, you know, are you going to be at that next World Cup? That's the big question. I don't think Willie will be, but I think that Handré still has a really good shot of being there. For the next one, I think it's too soon to tell between Sasha and Handré. Sasha's fantastic today, but we have to hope he endures, says Nix. And I mean, we did see a little bit of a fumble from Sasha in the second game up against the Australians. Those were in wet conditions, so maybe not quite able to play his natural game when the ball is slippery. But yeah, like having him off the bench, he seems to always bring that impact at the moment. And then him in the starting lineup up against the Australians, as well as up against the All Blacks last week, he's a real prospect. And I feel like he is probably, in fact, that'll be a question, ladies and gents. In terms of young, exciting players that you think are the future for South Africa, other than Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu, who else at the moment is that next guy? I'm talking under 25, if not maybe even under 23, 24. Who's that next young talent that you think is coming up through the rankings at the moment? Because there are quite a few, and I mean, we saw that under 20s South African side. There are a couple guys in those teams or those setups that, you know, eventually could be pretty big. I know that Julius is one that a lot of people are fond of in terms of the youngsters. Halakane, I thought, was phenomenal throughout that under 20 rugby championship. There's good talent and good depth being built across all the board for South Africa. But looking through at the table once again, for anyone who doesn't know what this game means in terms of the overall outcome of the Rugby Championship, if South Africa win this game, theoretically they will move up to 18 points which would then mean New Zealand, even if they received a bonus point for this game, they would not be able to catch the Springboks. So the Rugby Championship heavily on the line here. Now, even if New Zealand win, that is not to say that South Africa will not finish first, as they would need to lose both games, or at least one, up against the Argentines, but they are in the box seat. You could say the box seat if you really wanted to use a pun there, but they are sitting on 14 points after a great start to this Rugby Championship. And looking through at their starting lineup for this contest, Oxnashare, Bongi Umbanambi, and Franz Malharba as the front row. Very strong last week. Oxnashare, I want to see a big game from him. I feel like Franz Malharba, he held his own, if not went a little bit above in terms of those scrums. Umbanambi scoring the early try. I think that one, to be honest, I think that's the most talked about try we have seen in forever. Like, in terms of, I can't think of another try that brought so many people together and against each other at the same time. Either way, in the history books, Bongi Manambi does have that try to his name. Oxnashare number 1. He's a unit. Stephen Kitsoff slowly getting closer to returning. You've got Gerhard Stennekamp off the bench, who likes to add that impact as well, and he was a part of that bomb squad last week that did extremely well, but still a very good front row for the Springboks. In this contest, Eben Etzebeth moves back into the starting lineup. He came off the bench last week due to a little bit of an injury, but once again bringing that impact. And if you look through at 5 and 4 for the Springboks, Ruan Nokia 5, Etzebeth 4, those two men are both leaders in terms of the amount of lineouts won for this Rugby Championship. Ruan Nokia with the most, Eben Etzebeth sitting there. In second, Sia Khaleesi, a lot of people didn't think he would be playing in this game, but the fact that he is a massive testament to not just that man's will, but also that man's ability of being able to take a big shot and just keep on going. He wants the Rugby Championship. He wants the Freedom Cup, and he's got the big opportunity of being the captain in this game that may just secure both of them for this match. Peter Steph at number 7. He played 5, he played 4, he's played 7 throughout this Rugby Championship, and every time that he takes to the field, he brings that real impact. Jasper Visa as the number 8, his first game last week from his suspension. He had to wait about 3 months or so before he got that opportunity, but he's a dangerous ball runner, a massive unit, and I mean, Eldrick Lowe's been really strong off the bench for the South Africans, but Jasper Visa, after the way that he played last week, Rassi wants to see a little bit more from him in terms of getting those minutes up before the end of the comp. Looking through at the 9-10 combination, it is a brand new one for this Rugby Championship. Grant Williams at number 9 with Andre Pollard slotting in as the 10. Now, Grant Williams, he has been very handy for the Springboks off the bench. Scored a try last week. In this game, I can see him being, I want to say, less aggressive in terms of the way that he runs for the start of this game, rather than the way that he would normally come off the bench, because normally when he comes off the bench, it's 1,000 miles an hour. But this game, I feel like they'll try and slow him down a little bit, because partner with Pollard, the best thing for Grant Williams to be able to do is get that first pass perfect into the chest of Pollard, so that then if Pollard needs that time to be able to choose what they're doing in the back line, they've got that available. But New Zealand, we could see some rush defence from them in this contest, although that then allows the gaps to open up for these two men on the outside. Damien de Lende, fantastic last week when it came to getting those turnovers. Jesse Creel at number 13. Chislin Colby out on the left wing with Kanan Moody taking his first start of the Rugby Championship on the right. Now, no Kurtley Arunsa this game. That is due to the head knock. Chislin Colby moving from the right to the left for this game. No Makazole Mapimpi as he is awaiting the birth of his child. And then also going to be playing in the Sharks versus Bulls game tomorrow. In the Currie Cup, Billy LaRue takes the number 15 from Apalele Fasi, who with the exception of the yellow card and a couple little moments in defence had a very strong game last week up against the All Blacks. But looking through at the chat once again, we have got Go the All Blacks from Tyson Williams. Should be playing off the bench to disrupt the opposition, says Conrad. Although there is a chance that we could see Grant Williams. You know, they've gone with the 5-3, so I don't see it happening. I was going to say maybe Grant Williams goes out onto the wing near the end of this game, just because it's something that they have tried in the past. If Moody's not quite firing for his first game back, perhaps they could look at something like that. But yeah, Grant Williams falls I believe a little bit into a similar category, but not quite the same as Quagga Smith in terms of anytime he makes his way off the bench, he seems to just completely tear an opposition apart. Hi, Amish, excited for this match in your commentary, says Judy. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Still waiting to see Lewis Rees-Zammit on the pitch in the NFL. He's fighting around with the Kansas City Chiefs, but switched to the Jaguars a few days ago. Says Katie, I did see that he got cut from the Chiefs side, didn't he? So I guess it's good that he's still trying the NFL rather than jumping straight back to rugby union just because it didn't quite go his way for the first game. But hopefully, eventually we get to see him having a run round. Speaking of switching to other types of sports or types of modes of rugby, Mark Nawanganitawasi actually making his debut in the NRL yesterday up against the Roosters, getting himself the try. Now, we are going to see a few more Australian players go to rugby league in the future, such as Carter Gordon, and then also, I don't know, we might see a Kiwi or two go into rugby league as well. Just around the corner, we have got there, you're a decent broadcaster, 2H, you just have a smaller budget, says Joseph in there as well. Yeah, that's true. I don't really have the millions to be able to buy the licensing to show the game, because if I did, I honestly think I would. And I know that sounds weird to say because there are probably better things you could spend millions on, but if I could get the licensing, without taking a massive pay cut, which, I can't buy it at the moment because, like I said, it's a few million and I have a few dollars, but, yeah, it would be pretty awesome to be able to one day be able to have my face in the corner and then watch a game live with you guys. I feel like that would be quite cool. Oh, yeah, the NFL, no way. Says peak performance and Cakedown Stadium packed is a great sight, says Francois. And yeah, this game getting ever so close to kicking off. We're into the last 30 minutes of the build-up, ladies and gentlemen. Still plenty of stats to look through, still plenty to look at for this contest. But first of all, we are just hearing a little bit from Rassie Erasmus at the moment. He will be excited for this game. I feel like the mind games haven't quite been there for this one in particular. It sounded like at the start that there was going to be a bit of back and forth between Rassie and Scott, but I don't think we've really got that. I feel like that mutual respect of the two sides got the better of them in some regards, and now it's just about going out there and playing the better rugby. It's simple, Hamish. You just need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and work harder to earn those millions, just like Mr. Chris Luxon did, says Razor Robinson. And we have good there. I'm closing my eyes for a bit. Hopefully I don't fall asleep, says Pad. So I would heavily recommend setting an alarm, Paddy. Because then if you do accidentally fall asleep, you will at least still be able to watch the game. Because I always worry when I decide to have a nap before a big game, because I worry that my alarm clock's not going to go off, and then I'll wake up after this game has taken place. But luckily we did wake up today. I feel like that sounded very deep. It wasn't supposed to, but more so just because the alarm did go off. But yeah, this game only 27 minutes away, and they're just showing Grant Williams in terms of what he's able to do off the bench alongside someone like an Eldrick Lowe. But in this game, Grant Williams will be starting. Lowe will still find himself coming off the bench alongside Malcolm Marks, Gerhard Stennekamp, Vincent Koch, and also Quagga Smith when it comes to those forward replacements. The 5-3 split for the South Africans here, wanting to have that extra back later on in the contest. And I feel like that's just to add a little bit more stability. And also, if they are winning comfortably, perhaps we see someone like a Jesse Creel or a Damien Dialende rested a little bit so that they don't get overworked before the November internationals. And the back replacements, Jaden Hendrickse will get his first chance for a long time. I saw that Jordan Hendrickse are going to be playing 15 for the Sharks very shortly in the Curry Cup, so we will be keeping an eye on him, of course. But Jaden Hendrickse as the replacement 9. Then Sasha Feinberg, Ngomazulu. The big question is he going to be playing as the 10? Is he going to be 15? Is he going to be 12? There are plenty of options that we could see him slot into. Maybe we even see, I would say without Lukhanyo there was a possibility that we could have seen the chance of Andre Pollard shifting to 12 with Sasha at 10, and then you have, someone else out on the wing. But Lukhanyo there's a chance we could still see that, though, if Lukhanyo played 13 and Jesse Creel popped out to the wing. Maybe that's the only way we see Pollard stay out there on the field later on, or same with Villiers Larue for the New Zealanders. They have got Asafa Moore, Ofa Tuangafasi and Fletcher Null as their front row. Sam Derry at number 19 with Luke Jacobson being welcomed back into the side after quite a long injury layoff. TJ Perenara, Anton Leonard-Brown and Bowden Barrett, a huge amount of experience for New Zealand across those back replacements, something that perhaps they were lacking last week. They didn't really have someone who could really cement the game and help them get that victory. Cortez Aratama, they are just showing him on the screen now. He will be starting this match with TJ Perenara coming off that bench, like I said. The last 20 minutes, I feel, is where this game's going to be won or lost. And for me, anyway, I feel like the Springboks later on in the game normally do have the advantage. And it's whether or not New Zealand can find a way of shutting that down and stopping the Springboks from rolling. Because if they can, I'd say New Zealand win this game. But if they can't, then the Springboks once again could find themselves with that late win. We have got there, anyone got bat or something to knock me out, that will work. Then you would miss the game, Paddy. I would say Andre Villianarm. System or structure players. I think this will be a conservative game, says Conrad. And also we have got there, well, if South Africa win today, would have beaten them with a 7-1, 6-2 and 5-3. That's true. And I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, is there any others, because they played a 7-1 up against Ireland in that World Cup, the South Africans. But I believe New Zealand's the only team they've played the 7-1 against that they've beaten in terms of using that 7-1. And they've beaten them with the 6-2 last week. They've beaten them surely with the 5-3 before, but maybe it would be the first time in a calendar year. Is that a stretch? Because the last game was before the World Cup, wasn't it? When was that game between New Zealand and South Africa before the World Cup? Are we still in that same calendar year? Because if we are, that might be a record that is never broken in terms of beating a side with a 7-1, a 6-3, and a 5-3, all within a 12-month period. It's a shame we can't do in the next South Africa Olympics. And the breakdancing would take the gold or the silver. It was international bat night a couple of weeks ago. And is going to smash the line. Twickenham, says Sandor. And the link. Unfortunately, depending on where you are in the world, will depend on what your options are for being able to watch this game. If you're in New Zealand, it's on Sky. If you're in Australia, it's on Stan. DSTV is your option if you are in South Africa. And sadly, SABC do not have this game this week. They did have last week's game, but they don't have the licensing confirmed for this contest. I believe it's still the same calendar year, says Juan. Yeah, I'm going to have a quick little Google, aren't I? In fact, I don't have to Google because I got an app on my phone that will tell me a little bit quicker. They're just saying there that they feel like Wallace Satiti could be a man that brings the impact New Zealand Rugby Plus. And VPN boys, says Xandor. And also we've got there, well, we beat Australia, says Cool Story Bro. And of course, South Africa already beating the Australians twice in this rugby championship, currently undefeated. And, they haven't had too many losses in the last little while, the South Africans. Their last loss was to Ireland. The loss before that was to Ireland. So at the moment, the Irish are the only side that have been pulling off victories up against South Africa over this last 12 months. Why don't you get yourself a beer, says on the right, because then I would probably fall over. I'll be honest with how quickly I'm talking. Is Andre Esterhuizen still banned? I don't believe so. I think his ban has come to an end, but they have decided to leave him out of the side. In Cape Town, they played 10. The Springboks have won 3. The All Blacks have won 7, but the All Blacks have never won 3 in a row in Cape Town. So that is something that they are trying to confirm and trying to get under the belt for today. But the August game, was it in August that they played? No, it might have been September, in fact. I'm trying to find that exact game. It was on... No, I think we're outside of that calendar year. New Zealand versus South Africa happened on the 26th of August, was when that one took place. I'm thinking of them, 2 great players, John Olomu and Thunder Esterhuizen. Never forget them, respect Neil in England. In the next match too, says Connor. We are going to be covering the matchup between Australia and Argentina, and that one is even getting closer and closer, less than 5 hours away from that contest starting up. This game only 20 minutes from the start, ladies and gentlemen. We will have the national anthems in a short moment, then the haka will take place, and then these two sides will take to the field for 18 minutes of all-out action. And do let me know, just in the chat at the moment, who do you think will win this game? What is your score prediction for this contest? For me, I did go 29-26 in favour of the Boks, but normally in Cape Town, there aren't a huge amount of points that are normally scored. between these two sides. But this game, I feel like there's just the exception. This Rugby Championship, definitely for these two sides, has proven to be extremely, I guess, rewarding in terms of the amount of points that they have been able to get. Like I showed before, the Springboks in their first game up against the Australians, they were able to get 33. Then their next game, they got 30. Their next game after that, 31. I believe at the moment, if they win this game by a margin of 30, or sorry, not by 30, but if they score 30, it's one of their longest streaks of getting 30 plus points in a contest in, I want to say, since about 2015 or 9. Oh, I don't think it was 19, maybe 2017 was the last time we saw so many games in a row consisting of 30 plus points for the Springbok sides. For New Zealand, even in the game that they lost, they scored 30 points. Then they got 42 and then 27 up against South Africa. So no matter what, these two sides know how to score points. It's just whether or not we will see more tries. Combined throughout this Rugby Championship, they have 25 tries. 13 for New Zealand, 12 for South Africa. Those are a few of the interesting stats. Both teams to score a try in the first 10 minutes is $21 here in New Zealand. I have just seen on game night, you should have a full stadium behind you for your green screen, so it seems like you're at the game. See, here's bacon pancake. That's a decent idea. To be fair, I have to find another image for the future, perhaps, and sign up and see what it says. Fluffy and Springboks. See Sharon and South Africa 29, New Zealand 24, 19-15 in favour of South Africa, 30-21 in favour of South Africa. I don't think... Okay, All Blacks 20-0. I was going to say, I don't think I saw anyone predicting the All Blacks to win this game. But they do come in as underdogs. The All Blacks for this contest, All Blacks to take a good lead, but this time Box just failed to overtake them, 27-24 in favour of the AB, says Jimbo. And Talia's not in form at the moment, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Yeah, Talia's a bit of a head-scratch kind of player because he's great on attack, but his defence does not exist. And I mean that in the nicest way possible that you can, but the bloke just can't tackle. He can beat defenders for fun. He's still actually combined with the leading defenders beaten of the competition. He's got 11, and he's really not had as many minutes as some would anticipate. But Colby actually has moved his way all the way up to 11 as well. Lena Cattell, Artie Savia, and Eldrick Lowe all have 9 defenders beaten. Bowden Barrett has 8. Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu has 8. And Jesse Krill does have the 7. Another interesting stat at the moment in terms of the leading point scorers of the competition. Mackenzie has 39, and then Sasha has got 32, alongside Santiago Herreras, who has got the 32 as well. And then the most clean breaks in the competition, that goes to Bowden Barrett. He will be making his way off the bench in this contest for the All Blacks. Hey, Hamish, do you see that we will have another flyover today at 6:59? Oh, sorry, 16:59. South African time, says Lawazi. I mean, I do think that the timing of the last one was unfortunate, but I don't think there was any ill intent behind it. Like, South Africa Rugby apologised for the fact that it went over the top at the wrong time, but I feel like now that they know that there's going to be a flyover, the All Blacks will wait a little bit longer to start the haka. Just because, like, for the last game, it did seem like there was a miscommunication. But I don't see it as, like, it wasn't disrespect towards the haka, I don't believe. I think it was just more so the fact that, like, the timing was off. How do you time a big plane flying in the air and say, hang on, mate, you've just got to stop because the team's about to do a haka? Like, you got to keep flying straight or else you go down. The dedication commenting this game, and given the New Zealand time is commendable, says Gregory. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, currently 2:43 a.m. New Zealand time. It's a late night, but we do absolutely love it. And of course, I do love the fact that so many of you guys have shown up already for this match. Anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are here for all of the Rugby Championship. Next week, there are no games, but the week after that, we are going to be covering South Africa versus Argentina, partnered with New Zealand versus Australia. Hamish, as a South African, I join your podcast more than any other here. Thank you, says Piet. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. And 31-7 G's, Connor. Yeah, they might win, but by that score, says Gareth there as well. Did you stay awake this whole time or set an alarm, says Bacon Pancake? I managed to squeeze a couple hours in beforehand, but I did have an alarm set just in case. In fact, I had about 7 set because there was no way I wanted to miss this game. Hi, Hamish, big game today. Lots to play for on both sides, says Springbok Rugby, Springbok Replay Zone. Yeah, massive game, massive implications. No matter what, someone's making history for this contest. It will either be the longest winning streak of the modern era or the professional era for the Springboks, or it will be New Zealand's longest ever winning streak in Cape Town. So there's a little bit on the line. Why should South Africa apologise? It wasn't disrespectful playing flying over. AB should remember doing the haka isn't the right, it's a privilege, says JP. But that's the thing. Like, I didn't think it was something that they had to apologise for, but they did release a statement apologising. Like, it wasn't me saying that they should, it's me clarifying that they did. But yeah, I think it was just a timing issue. The DJ at the ground, I don't know whether or not he knew that there was going to be the haka taking place when it did, because he was still going with the as it was getting closer. But yeah, I feel like technical difficulties happen, timing issues happen. They're going to fly over again here, and hopefully it all goes a lot more smoothly. I love watching the haka, says Nix. Don't worry, Hamish, I will have a couple exports for you, says Juan there. And Kiwi lads all the way, huge love and support from Ireland. Love the All Blacks, says Starlight there as well. But we are only 15 minutes away, ladies and gentlemen, from the start of this contest. If you are new, like I said, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We have got plenty of action that is just around the corner between these two sides. These teams that always have that rich history, that have the respect, the passion to go out there and put in their best performances. I think we're going to see exactly that in Cape Town, and you do not want to miss it. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. But we're quickly going like that. And like that, we've got our banner already, because we are going to have the try scorers coming across the bottom of the screen. That was something that was heavily requested from last week. We have their greetings, Hamish. Thanks for commentary. It's such an anti-social time. The love from the UK, says Penelope. And is it going to play now, says Palisa. So we are currently 14 minutes away now. I will mention on YouTube, you will find it almost impossible to find any match footage, mainly because of copyright infringement. And also it is heavily enforced from Stan as well as Sanzar. So we are doing the play-by-play commentary on the channel, where we will let you know exactly what is happening. But in terms of finding match footage, sadly, you won't be able to find any on YouTube. Not that gets pretty much instantly taken down anyway. And when my stress levels is high, I'm ready, says Caitlin. So I hope you are doing well. Hope you are excited for this contest. I'm sure you are, though. At the end of the day, Springboks versus All Blacks. Anyone who's not really excited for these contests, like, it's just one of the biggest games, isn't it, that does take place. Cody Taylor up to 90 caps. He's getting closer and closer to the end. How's this competition affected your channel growth? It has gone up quite a bit. I'd say that we've gained the most in terms of statistics throughout this rugby championship since the Rugby World Cup. In fact, I think we may have even made a couple of our own records from, like, exception of World Cup games. I'm not too sure on that stat. I'll just have to quickly clarify. But yeah, we've done some really, really awesome things throughout this Rugby World Cup in terms of getting to meet so many new people on the channel. I always say it, like, you guys being here is absolutely incredible, because we've got so many people from all around the world, of all walks of life, and it's just incredible, really. But in terms of, I don't know how to use YouTube. How do I use YouTube? I wanted to sort, hang on, I got to do it through YouTube, don't I? Hang on, oh, I'm working it out slowly, and can't wait, or can't start without Ruth. Very excited, missed your voice, says Caitlin there. I was going to say I miss your voice too, but I don't know what you sound like, so I miss your comments, I guess I could say. Hamish made 50k this year already. That is a complete lie. I wish that would have come in handy, but no, sadly. That would be probably about 10 times as much. A huge upset win to the All Blacks, says Glenn there, and good luck to the Boks. And we have got their Brad Pitt's horse in Legends of the Fall was called Crumpus. And yes, Caitlin, I can soothe you, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi, and South Africa 29, All Blacks 24. But they're talking about the reshuffle of the back for the New Zealanders. They have decided to make the changes, ladies and gents, of having Will Jordan at 15. He does not get the opportunity too often, but when he does, he is one of those players to keep an eye on. Although, just to mention it, and I'm going to have to do it, he didn't score the last game that he played at 15. Hi, guys and girls. I watch him from East London, South Africa, and South Africa all the way, says Zen there. And Matt Williams probably has a New Zealand shirt on right now. I miss your hands down my well of goodness. That's an interesting statement. Thanks for the commentary, Hamish, from Taiwan. Says Taiwan Rebel, welcome in. But yeah, in terms of that live stream 6 days ago, that was our most viewed live stream outside of a Rugby World Cup. And then 4 weeks ago was our second most. And then 3 weeks ago was our third most. So this Rugby Championship, we've done some incredible things in terms of records for the channel, and it is all down to you guys. At the end of the day, if you guys weren't watching these live streams, like, it would be very lonely. I would still probably be doing them, but I'd only have a couple people to talk to, unfortunately. You know who did score? Hamish? Bongi scored. Bongi scored big time, and great to see two amazing, or great rugby nations battling it out. Amazing show class for World Rugby, or showcase, I should say. Watching from the Vatican City, says Kimosabi. In there as well, but looking through at the lineups, ladies and gentlemen, for the last time before we get into this contest, South Africa in the win predictor have them as 63% favourites. New Zealand the underdogs for this contest, something that really happens up against the Springboks, but is it something that we're going to see more of perhaps as the era of the Bok does wear on? But in their starting lineup, it is Oxnardje, Bongio Manambi and Franz Malherbe slotting in as the number 3. Eben Etzebeth and Ruan Nokia in the locking duo. Etzebeth back in the starting side after coming off the bench in the last fixture. Ruan Nokia winning the most lineouts out of any player throughout this Rugby Championship competition. Now, a man who we did not expect to see in the starting lineup was the man at number 6, Sia Khaleesi. The fact that he is available for this game after getting his face, what I thought was concaved in the last game, is absolutely incredible. And like I said, a testament to how tough this man is and how much he wants to win not just the Rugby Championship, but also win the Freedom Cup for the first time in 15 long years. Pieter-Steph du Toit at number 7. If he wins this cup, it will be thoroughly deserved because he has been absolutely everywhere for the Springbok side. And I'm not just talking positions. He's played lock, he's played loose forward, but all around the field, he will bring you an impact with Jasper Wiese back at number 8 after his suspension. Played well last week. Looking forward to some more starting minutes. Grant Williams at number 9 with Andre Pollard as the starting 10. They have decided to make that massive switch, getting rid of Reinach, getting rid of Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu, and now Pollard wants to step up. He's played up against the All Blacks before. He's had some magical moments up against the ABs. Grant Williams, he's known as a super sub for the Springboks, but now gets his chance in that 9 jersey. Damien Delende and Jesse Creel, the dream team as the midfield combo. The All Blacks have won 4 of their last 5 test matches against the Springboks in Cape Town, is the stat that just came up. But they have never, and I mean never, won 3 in a row in Cape Town. They've won their last 2. Can they make the history? There's another flyover of a plane. I think they've timed that one better than they did for last match. But Cheslin Colby here is out on the left wing. Kane and Moody moves into the starting side out on the right. These will be almost his first minutes, I believe, of this Rugby Championship competition since his injury. And then Willie Leroux at number 15 rather than Apalele Fassi, who doesn't find himself in the match day 23 for New Zealand. In their starting lineup, it is Tamaiti Williams, Cody Taylor, and Tyrell Lomax. Lomax doing extremely well last week. 14 tackles made for that man. Taylor getting the lineouts right. New Zealand at the moment, the highest win percentage of lineouts throughout the Rugby Championship. Scott Barrett and Tupavai, they will be the locking duo in this matchup with Wallace Satiti as his starting debut at 6. Sam Cane, number 7, and Adi Savia slotting in as the number 8. Now, Sam Cane, he made a lot of tackles last week, made 17 to his name. He's going to need a big performance like that yet again, enforce that physicality. Once again, the Zulu Warriors make their way onto the field. That man is absolutely huge. I think it's the same bloke as last week. I think he's grown about 5 kgs of muscle since our last contest. Cortez Ratama as the number 9 with Damien McKenzie starting 10. TJ Perenara, he will be making his way off the bench for the All Blacks rather than getting that starting time. Cortez Ratama, this is his first start since getting injured up against the Fijians, so a big chance for him. Geordie Barrett as the number 12 with Rico Ioane at 13. Geordie Barrett having a much better game last week than he did the game prior up against the Springboks, where Pieter-Steph du Toit, every time Geordie Barrett turned his back or even looked over his shoulder, Pieter-Steph was right there ready to make those tackles. Mark Talia out on the left wing. That is due to the injury of the leading try scorer in the Rugby Championship, Caleb Clark, who has already got himself 3. And this comp, Severis out on the right wing for the first time since his game up against Argentina. And then Will Jordan at number 15 rather than Beauden Barrett, who makes his way off the bench for this game. Right. Those are the technicalities, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of the starting lineups. We have got a new channel member as well. Thank you very much, Yolesa. Hopefully I've said that correctly, although I think I might have pronounced that slightly wrong. We have got the Which channel on DSTV. Hopefully someone can help you out in South Africa in terms of what channel it will be on. It's on, or it's not 201, says Amelie. And there as well. This feels very much like a final, very exciting stuff. Yeah, if anything, there's more anticipation, I believe, for this rematch than there was for the first game. And that is hard to do because of the amount of excitement that was brought all around that first contest when these two sides played off last week in Johannesburg. But they're showing there the pancake rocks in the background. It's going to be an epic game, ladies and gentlemen. And I do want to know your score predictions. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to let us know. Who do you think will be winning this game, the Springboks or the All Blacks? And also your score predictions for this game. Who is going to be taking out the victory for this match? Have a drink of water, Hamish says VG, man. Did you find any win-loss stats on the 3 Barrett bros starting together? Thanks, Hamish says Gita. Sadly, I did not. I saw a lot of other stats about these two sides going head-to-head, but sadly wasn't able to find one about the Barretts. Although I do know that if it's anything like a lot of All Blacks records, they will have a relatively strong one playing together as a unit. But the New Zealand national anthem is being sung, ladies and gentlemen. We are just around the corner from the kickoff of this matchup. Anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated you all being here. We have got plenty more of the Rugby Championship coming on the channel, as well as the upcoming November internationals. Cape Town Stadium compact and with a whole heap of spectators. Now, I will say New Zealand, I think they'll have more support in Cape Town than they did in Johannesburg. It seems to be that Cape Town almost a second home for some All Black supporters. But Wallace Satiti, they're showing him. He's going to be starting at 6, and I am very curious to see what the tactic is behind why they have started him at blindside rather than someone like a Summer Penny Finau, rather than Luke Jacobson. Maybe it's just a lack of minutes for Jacobson, his first chance off the bench since his last injury. Thanks, Hamish, for the commentary from GT in Indonesia. Says Greg there. And Hamish, you're the best commentator. Gail from South Africa says, Gail, thank you very much. And the box to win says Avumal in there as well. But do let me know your first try scorer predictions as well, ladies and gentlemen, for this matchup. But the New Zealand national anthem has been sung, which does mean now we are just about to hear the South African national anthem. Now, last stadium was absolutely just blasting in terms of the national anthem. So much pride, so much, I guess, passion in the stadium was shown. See if Cape Town can do it yet again. Every time they lose one, they win the next one. Well, I don't know when they lost 2 in a row, says Norma. Yeah, I think New Zealand, I can't even think of their last 2 losses in a row. Probably to Ireland, wasn't it? Or maybe 2 up against, actually, no, never mind. They lost the game up against South Africa. No, sorry. They lost the game up against, yeah, it was South Africa, the warm-up game of the World Cup. Then they lost to France. I think that was the last time that they lost 2 in a row for the ABs. Cody Taylor, first try scorer, says Geekton. Of course, they both went for the rolling mauls early in the last contest. We saw Umbanambi score. We also saw Cody Taylor, like you mentioned there. He was able to get the first try in the last contest between the sides. But the stadium is packed. The stands are rocking. And we can hear the national anthem being sung. A lot of proud South Africans. And the stand, Springboks by 12 points, 24-12, says Springbok replay zone. Now, I should mention, it's a little bit unfortunate in terms of the world rankings, how much it can change in just one game. But if South Africa were to lose this game, they will be second in the overall world rugby standings. Ireland would take number 1. So that is why I think there's a little bit of extra interest in this game as well. Not just because of the Freedom Cup, not just because of the Rugby Championship, but because the men in green are looking on to see whether or not at the end of today they can call themselves the number 1 side in the world rankings. Now, South Africa, they will have something to say about it, of course. They will want to be able to get themselves a massive win. The national anthem is called Nkosi Sikelel. It is indeed. I can play it on guitar, just not very well, unfortunately. You guys are crazy for looking down on the All Blacks like this. Where did you get? Where'd that go? Someone said about the prediction by 12 is very optimistic. South Africa better not have or give us heart palpitations till the last minute like the previous game, says Caitlin. I have a feeling it's going to be extremely close, though, for this game. The national anthem of South Africa has just come to a close, ladies and gentlemen, which means we are now ready for the kickoff after the haka. First try for Dan Carter, says Glenn. I mean, that would certainly be New Zealand digging deep into their bag of tricks if they decided that they needed Dan Carter back. I'm behind you, green and gold, says Mogu there. Matthew Carley, he will be the referee in charge of this one. Andrew Brace, who was the referee in charge last week, he will be the assistant referee. What's the weather look like, Hamish? It looks really nice at Cape Town Stadium. The sun is out. There were rumours that there was going to be a little bit of wind, but I'm not seeing too many signs of that just yet. Whereas the plane says, Carl, I think it's going to be flying over after the haka has come to a close. Will it be playing on SABC2? Sadly, I think that they have decided not to show this game on SABC. I don't believe they were able to secure the licensing, sadly. So that is, of course, like a massive shame. Definitely because so many people were ready to be able to watch these games on SABC, but unfortunately they just haven't decided to show the second one. But TJ Perenara, he is going to be leading the haka here, ladies and gentlemen, fired up for the second test match. He will be coming off the bench rather than starting. Instead, it is the youngster Cortez Ratama who is looked upon to get the All Blacks underway. But Grant Williams versus Ratama, that is something we could see at the next Rugby World Cup. It's something that maybe is a future for both of these sides. The crowd cheering at the moment for the haka. The haka is Kapo Panga today. And go the box, says Nature's Gift. And game ends 101 for South Africa and 100 for New Zealand, says Mark. Tell you what, if that happened, defence would just not exist in this game. I think the highest game we've seen in terms of Rugby World Cup points was around 100. But you're saying both sides to get that would be absolutely insane. Box don't deserve to be number one, says Dean. In what regard would you say, Dean? They won the World Cup by beating all the sides that they went up against, with the exception of Ireland. They then ended up winning 3 games in a row so far of the Rugby Championship. Over the last 12 months, I think they've only lost maybe 1 or 2 games. Like, there aren't many sides that have done that throughout this last little period of time. But that is going to be the haka finish, ladies and gentlemen. Cheslin Colby, Cesar Yanda, and he is currently tied with the leader defenders beaten throughout this Rugby Championship competition. But Bowden Barrett now has to make his way from the field. No, they brought 4 World Cups. Dean is coping hard, says ask the right questions. And that's how it's done, says Chris Seo in there as well. But ladies and gentlemen, we're now ready to take this deep breath. Touch judges will receive their flags. Cheslin Colby will get a last-minute beverage. Water, I should mention. But we're ready to go for this game. Eben Smith, he's fired up. Man, he looks focused at the moment. This is going to be his first start up against New Zealand of this Rugby Championship. He didn't get the opportunity up against them last week. He did off the bench, though, just not in that starting side. Seo Kolisi giving his team a chat and a half. I'm sure that they are inspired. Here comes the plane. And it is about to fly over the Cape Town Stadium. And All Blacks need discipline, says Outlaw. They certainly do. They went from being tied with South Africa in terms of the amount of penalties that they had given away to now being the most penalised side in the competition. 36, including 14 last week up against South Africa. South Africa last week only giving away 5 penalties, which now makes them the most disciplined side, but also the most ill-disciplined when it comes to yellow cards. They've given away 4, whereas New Zealand just the 2. If that statement didn't pretty much tell you I've been looking at stats most of the week, I don't know what will. I've been looking through all of them and being a bookworm, but not a book because it's online. And Mackenzie, he will be kicking this one off from right to left. And now we are underway, ladies and gentlemen. Another match of the Rugby Championship, the rematch between these two sides. And Jasper Visser will get the first carry of the contest. And he's a hard man to put down, but Savia gets him down eventually. Grant Williams now rolling it back. They are just outside of the 22. And there's a knock on, is there? No, he's been told to use it and he didn't. Grant Williams, too slow clearing the ball. Matthew Carley, I should say, asserting dominance straight away. He told him to use it. He did not. I'll just say right now, that was about 5 seconds quicker than Andrew Brace last week in terms of allowing both sides to hang on to the ball. But because the ball was available, he was told to use it. He rolled it back. If you get a red card, you play too dirty. But if you don't get a yellow card, you're playing too soft, says Anton in there. And while that was a fast call, said Rodney, yeah, like I said, compared to Andrew Brace last week, that was lightning fast. But that has set the tempo for this game and set the precedent that we're going to see from Matthew Carley. But now, scrum feed for New Zealand just outside of the Springboks 22. It is a massive push from the Springboks fullback, but luckily for the ABs, they have just managed to hang on to the ball. Mark Talia plays halfback, goes across to Tupavai. Last week, New Zealand started just as quick as this, but the difference could be, can they stop the Springboks from defending many tackles in a row? Satiti in behind, Geordie Barrett getting shut down by Umbanambi, and Ruan Nokia bounce past to Satiti, who runs straight into Peter Steph-Tatoy. The first time those two have come together in international rugby. Down the wing, Mark Talia fends Khaleesi but drops the ball in the process. So it is now going to be the scrum feed for the Springboks. But once again, a fast pace for this game to start. They have the option of a line out or a scrum. They will choose the scrum, as already in that first scrum, I think we saw New Zealand marching a little bit quicker backwards than they would have wanted to. But both coaches locked in. Talia putting in the fend and then just dropping the ball. I think he forgot that he had the ball in hand and just wanted to try and fend Khaleesi in the face. I got some news for you, Hamish. There's Manny M. What is that news, Manny? I'll try my best to read it, but the chat is going very quick at the moment. 2 minutes into this contest, Grant Williams now will have another opportunity to feed this ball in. Are we going to listen to online radio now? Says Bussy, you are if you stay here. Because sadly, due to licensing, any match footage or audio gets you taken straight off YouTube. So sadly, we are unable to show you any footage of the game without getting taken completely off. First scrum of the day. Springboks had a good push, and this is another one already. The advantage, yes it is, to the Springboks at scrum time. That is a statement, ladies and gentlemen, within a few moments to go out there and push the All Blacks back to the extent they just did. I think you're the best, says Bussy there, and we have got Robin as a new channel member. Thank you very much, Robin. Greatly appreciated. Andre Pollard, he will kick this ball into touch, but already a little bit of a concern for New Zealand at scrum time. Ox Nisher, I mentioned how I wanted to see a massive game from him. And that is a massive scrum, ladies and gentlemen, that he has just done. New Zealand going backwards in a hurry for that one. Umbanambi throwing it in. It's overthrown, though, and it sits up for Pollard. Oh, he's been taken out in the air, but he did jump into it. So I believe it's going to be play on. Geordie Barrett going back to Damian McKenzie. Kicks it in behind. Kane and Moody takes it right on the verge of his 22. Now he's going to run it back. McKenzie makes the low tackle. Vai finishes it off. Williams goes to the left-hand side to Visa. Vili LaRue. Cross to Damien Dialende. To Khaleesi. Jesse Creel. Flat run. Offload to Khaleesi again. Numbers on the outside for the Springboks. Peter Stetotoy offloaded on the inside to Damien Dialende. But they've lost the ball now, the Springboks. There was a knock-on. Was there? No, there wasn't. It's going to be play on. Grant Williams goes across to Ox Nisher. I believe the initial knock-on, if there was one, was going to be from Damien Dialende, but it may have hit him in the leg. That's a bit of a late shot from Tupavai on Andre Pollard as he kicked it. Kick downfield from Geordie Barrett, now returning fire and gets it into touch just outside of the 22. Nice time, mate, says Sean. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. George Myers, the ref today, says Scrum Lads and watching from Canada, says Chris. And there as well. But 4.5 minutes through this contest, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to see here Pollard, yeah, he jumps into it. Mark Talia, it's an ugly one because we've seen those ones penalised before, and there's a little bit of a grey area in that rule. Hold a controller and pretend you are playing. David just show, says Warzone, that doesn't work. YouTube weren't born yesterday. They have worked that tactic out. Now, Tupavai, loose ball, but they managed to slap it back for New Zealand. And then from there, does go into touch. So it is now going to be the Springboks who have got themselves another line-out throw. Thanks, Robin, for taking us live. There, it's like I'm there. Says Bussy there. Yeah, Tupavai just having a little bit of a fumble with the ball. Almost stolen by New Zealand, but it sits up for Kane and Moody at line-out time. 15 metres out from the line at the moment now. The Springboks in possession. Your pronunciation of Afrikaans, South African names is very good. Says Yorina, thank you very much, mate. Now kick downfield. I believe will be coming for Grant Williams. He's been told to use it. He won't want to take too long this time. Barrett tries to charge it, but he can't quite get there. Kane and Moody going up for this ball. McKenzie knocks it on. Seen a few early handling errors here from New Zealand and a high tackle from Damian McKenzie. Now this is quite interesting because last game it was New Zealand who were getting penalised early, South Africa who were having the handling issues. Whereas this game we are seeing New Zealand penalised early and New Zealand having the handling error issues. So New Zealand are just having issues across the board at the moment. We got another new member, Berenice. Thank you very much for hitting that membership button. You now have access to those emojis on the channel, including one of my face. I wonder how many girls play with themselves while watching your face, Hamish. I don't think any. My brain didn't kick in by the time I finished reading that, unfortunately. Normally halfway through I'll catch myself, but I did not in that situation. Umbanambi's try was not a try last week. This is from a South African, says Sean. Yeah, although, of course, doesn't change this game. And it's one of those ones that I think it was one of the most talked about tries in recent history. But it's one of those ones that, that doesn't help either side in this game. They have to take it out of their minds, try and get the momentum going forward here. Big shot on Jesse Creel by Tyrell Lomax. Now on the halfway line, South Africa back into the pocket, going to Pollard. He will once again put it high. Talia's trying to line it up. South Africa, knock on from Jesper Wiese. Knock on by 8 when he went to regather, says the referee. Come on, the All Blacks. And we have got there, lol, says VG man, and go the Bok. 7.5 minutes gone already in this contest. We'll get to see another scrum. This is where New Zealand did struggle a little bit in the first 2 scrums of the day. Hi all. Hamish, what pants are you wearing? Says Lockin. Fun fact, I decided to not wear pants today. But not in the way that you probably think. I got shorts on. It's the whole thing I mentioned about it earlier on. It's the lockdown attire if you're in like a business meeting. You got the business up top, the legs out down south. Cape Town are used to face a water shortage, says Clifford. Now this one is going to be fed in by Cortez Aratama. New Zealand 40 metres out from their own line. Adi Savia breaking off the back, tackled by Kolisi. The Springboks skipper who many felt wasn't going to be playing in this game. Now it's kicked high. Cheslin Colby. It's not back onto the side of South Africa. New Zealand haven't really been able to take too many high balls throughout the early stages. It's summer short season, says Elizabeth. Yeah, although it's 6 degrees Celsius at the moment where I am, so it's not quite summer yet. It's still a bit chilly. Grant Williams going off to the left-hand side. Pollard finds Willie LaRue. Skip pass. Referee says it was backward, kicked him behind from Kane and Moody. Now McKenzie gets it back across to Will Jordan. I believe that is his first touch in this contest. Going for the kick and behind, looking for a bit of territory. Awkward bouncing ball for Damien Dealende, but it sits up for him. Now finds Pollard, who is still inside of the 22, and Talia can't catch. So that one's going to go into touch. It's going to be a Springboks line out because it's gone through the breadbasket of Talia and he got half a touch on it. I think they're not going to be happy that Caleb Clark's injured, I'll tell you that right now. But 9 minutes into this contest, the Springboks yet again are going to have themselves another line out. And go the box, says Joshua. And the blonde moment, says Bussy in there as well. Who's looking to be decided at the moment? I would say South Africa. Line out so far, we've seen 2 out of 3. Who is the most handsome side? I couldn't tell you, really. It's going to be overthrown by the South Africans. And now New Zealand have it. Cody Taylor busting his way forward. Etzebeth wanting the turnover and the breakdown. Can't quite get his feet underneath him. McKenzie goes across to Geordie Barrett. Big shot on Peter Steph de Toy. And those two throughout the World Cup had quite the contest. Ratama short side. McKenzie finds Will Jordan. Straightening with his run, taken down low by Jesse Creel. Ratama against Atiti. McKenzie finds Tamaiti Williams. Bumps out of Etzebeth's challenge. Lomax, beautiful, selling a dummy again from that man. Savia on the outside. Finds Cody Taylor. New Zealand making big meters here. Dealende trying to get in there for the breakdown steal. McKenzie, short ball to Tupo Vai. Some elusive running from that man. Dragged down by Jesper Wiese. Ratama goes to Will Jordan. Cut out pass out wide to Severis, who goes back inwards. Felt like he wasn't going to be able to outpace Colby on the outside. Ratama goes to the left. Here comes Satiti. Breaks through 2 tackles. In fact, almost got through the third. Now Ratama goes back to Lomax McKenzie to Mark Talia. Skip pass out wide to Cody Taylor now. Can't get through the Springboks defence. Brilliant defence so far from the green and gold. But they are 5 metres out now. New Zealand, Tupavai runs straight at Oxton Share. That is normally a challenge and a half to get through. Rico Ioane in behind McKenzie. Goes to Will Jordan straight at Cheslin Colby and he is wrestled down. Chance for the Springboks over the ball. Jesper Visa. He's got the clean turnover. And now counter-attacking chance. Billy LaRue kicks it in behind. Cheslin Colby winning the foot race. He kicks it forward. Awkward way that he lands. And it's gone into touch. The crowd are not happy about it. They feel like Cheslin Colby was taken out. Will they have a look at this? Jordan Wing, Barrett fullback, says Itchy Nats there. But this is a fast tempo, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful turnover from Jesper Wiese as well as Sia Kolisi. Both men just locking themselves over that ball and ripping it away for the Springboks. And then the counter-attack was coming. Billy LaRue. The kick in behind was a nice choice, but I would have loved to just see the pass. I feel like the defence was lured in enough that he could have just got it into the hands of Cheslin Colby and then from there let Cheslin decide if he wants to kick it or just run it. Almost stolen by Etzebeth, but it is still on the side of New Zealand, only just. McKenzie taking a few too many seconds to decide which way to go with that one. It's a slow ball. Ratama now going off to Lomax, who gets through one. Thought about the offload. His running game has come a really long way in the last couple of years. You can understand why the Hurricanes had some success with him and Xavier Numia as the two. And now on the halfway line, Cheslin Colby looks to the short side, tries to bump off Ratama. Was it a little bit high? They've said let go. Tupavai does just that. He's saying he got hit in the face. Now Pollard going back across. Billy LaRue with the cross kick. Will Jordan is there and he's stolen the ball. Kicks it in behind and just keeps it in the field of play. Knock on, or at least it's knocked backwards, I should say, from Damien Dialendi, and it goes into touch. A scrappy start to this game for both of these sides, but now New Zealand have got the opportunity. 25 metres out from the line. It is all out pace, ladies and gentlemen. They just need to calm down a little bit, I think. I think they're just trying to play this game at 1,000 miles an hour. The line out is over the top. Sam Cane takes it. The All Blacks 22 metres out. Khaleesi just went like this. We mentioned about that injury last week. Has he re-injured it? Now, Savia, short ball to Cody Taylor. He pierces through two. I think Ratama was tackled without the ball there. And there's a penalty 5 metres out from the line, or at least the advantage for New Zealand. McKenzie gets it across to Barrett now. As he's tackled by Etzebeth. Cody Taylor slow to get back to his feet. Savia bumps through two. Wrestled down, and they will go back for the 5 metre penalty. It's going to be a yellow card again. South Africa, the first side to get a yellow. That is now their 5th of the Rugby Championship, and it's Jesper Wiese. They've called it a cynical infringement. And pace means nothing to us Springboks. We have an electric backline, says Sean. Jesper Wiese, he will be taken from the field for the next 10 minutes. I think Cody Taylor getting a bit of attention. I'm looking around for Sia Kolisi, and I'm not seeing him at the moment. I think he might be over on the sideline getting a bit of attention too. A big love, Hamish, amazing contest this is Sebastian. Yeah, all out pace in the early stages. Kolisi taking some deep breaths, but I think he's going to continue. That man is tough as nails. But Cody Taylor, some great stepping. Yeah, Jesper Wiese tackling the support player. Pretty bad, I guess you could say. Now we have got the eye roof. Says Caitlin there. Yellow card whenever it's against the box. Although, to be fair, yellow card in most scenarios when you tackle the man who's right there in the support run. I think it was just unfortunate as well for Wiese. You can slightly feel for him because he was expecting Taylor to have passed that ball. I think Cody Taylor, he hits his head on the ground really hard, and I think he's going to have to go off for an HIA. This could be a massive changer for New Zealand as Asafo Moore now has to make his way onto the field. Why is it so difficult to watch these games in the UK without paying a fortune? It's a really big shame because the Rugby Championship, I believe, shouldn't be behind a paywall. But I could recommend like, if you've got a VPN, I think someone said that it's on NZR Plus, but I could be wrong there. If you're overseas, that does seem to work. Cody Taylor's going to continue here. Is he all right? Surely, after a knock like that, he might have to go from the field, wouldn't he? Like, he's going to continue. He's a tough man too, but I think they must have just asked him all the questions and he must have memorised the answers. That's going to be McKenzie kicking it over, so New Zealand now take the lead 3-0 in the early stages of this game. And come on, boys, play the ball, not the boys. Says Liquor Man. We're in Australia. Can you watch? In Australia, your option is Stan Sport. That is your best option of being able to watch these games. So I would recommend that. But now, it's going to be a chance here for Tupavai. Get some more minutes under his belt for the All Blacks in that locking duo. Ruanoki, another player who hasn't had too many minutes under his belt, but I feel like this next generation of locks is what they're now looking at for both of these sides. Oh, big run from Tupavai straight into Chisel and Colby. Manages to drag him down. The amount of times Colby has knocked over people way bigger than him. I mean, we only have to look at the last game with Scott Barrett. Can we add a yellow marker to the side who got the yellow card? Says Lockin. I don't think my streaming software is fancy enough to be able to do that. Oh, that's a takeout in the air that time from Severis. That one was bad. And he didn't pull out of it. It's going to be an advantage. Willie LaRue has gone down and there will be a penalty against New Zealand there. Willie LaRue grabbing a leg of Cortez Ratama in the process. Rugby behind a paywall will eventually cost our sport. I personally prefer your live commentary. I could live stream, but this is more cool. You're very interactive, says Sean. I do try my best to read as many messages as I can. Sometimes I do miss some, mainly because there are heaps of them coming through. This is going to be a yellow card here as well. This one's going to Severis, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to see it here. He was late. Yeah, that's just bad from Severis. Had to pull out of it. Decides to jump up anyway. So they're checking this to see whether or not it is cynical enough for a yellow card. Does he get away with it? Yeah, he jumps up. The only thing that saves him is Willie LaRue didn't really land awfully. Lands on his chest, upper chest. It's a yellow card for Severis as well. Both sides playing with 14. Someone said earlier on they just wanted to see one game where the New Zealanders had 15 for the whole game. They're not going to see it this game, ladies and gents. We've got to wait for the Bledisloe for that to happen. Hamish is impartial, but we have an idea, says Caitlin. And there, Navi is a Noon Channel member. Thank you very much. New Zealand making mistakes, trying to kill us in the beginning. And we got a new channel member in the Themba in there as well. And you and Keith Urban are my favourite Kiwis. Is Keith Urban from New Zealand? Isn't he Australian? Keith Urban? I think he is anyway. If he's from New Zealand, then I've butchered that one. He went in without going for the ball. It's a red according to me, says Original Venom. I think that because of how Willie LaRue landed though, they always look at how the players landed. So because he only landed on his chest, that is why it is not anything more than a yellow. But now going to short side, Grant Williams, they're going to target that wing where Severis is no longer. Scott Barrett over the ball and wins the penalty for New Zealand. The stakes are so incredibly high. They are playing like they are panicking. They need to calm the hell down both sides. Right, Matthew Carley just said if they had scored, I had enough suspicion. I don't know what that was about. And there. You're talking your every time, says Faisal. What did I say that you didn't like, Faisal? Out of curiosity. Or is it just because you can't see the game? He's Kiwi, says Daniel, and bloody Reese. Wait until he hits the ground first. Rookie mistake. Yeah, in a challenge he was never going to win anyway. Like, it was just a silly one. And now Jasper Vesa and Severis sitting next to each other in the yellow card bin, unfortunately. Right, Cody Taylor. He's going to make his way from the field. So Cody Taylor, you know earlier on when I said that he didn't look great and that he might need to go off for an HIA, they have now decided to take him off. So a couple more tackles made by Savia before that, by Taylor before that point, going in, turning your back. You're no longer playing the ball. It's like doing a cannonball in a pool. You don't care who gets wet, says Original Venom. And what happened to the penalty to South Africa? So they did get one, then they decided to kick it into touch and then they won their line out, but then Barrett got over it and got the turnover. Now line out for New Zealand, 30 metres out from the line. His first line out unsuccessful, and South Africa have got the ball. Siakalisi goes back to Chisel and Colby. Space is opening up for that man. One defender beaten, two defenders beaten, three defenders almost beaten in the knock-on from Steph to Toy, and they'll go back for the knock-on. And that was almost Steph's opportunity to get a much rewarded or much important try in terms of the amount of impact that he has had throughout this rugby championship. But Chisel and Colby just went there, had a little gap to go through. It's okay, let's watch the game. Says Original Venom. And we have got their scrums, says Bussy. Yeah, at the moment, I mean, Springboks have had an advantage at scrum time, and they've had an advantage at line-out time. They've had two clear advantages throughout the early stages of this match. And New Zealand have to try and find a way of stopping that. But having a Safa more now out on the field rather than having Cody Taylor, you wonder whether or not they will lose any chance of lineouts being the stronger out of the two. Where can I watch this game online? If you are in New Zealand, you can watch it on NZR, or you can watch it on Sky, but NZR Plus, I believe, have it in some locations around the world. Alina has become a channel member. You now have access to those exclusive emojis, ladies and gentlemen. Great to see you again. Other way it's going, we're going to have a sevens game, says Jose there. How much longer on Jasper's yellow? He has still got another 5.5 minutes remaining. Damien McKenzie on his own goal line will kick this one into touch. And Philly LaRue, of course, telling the referee that it was a bit further back. A clean game is needed. All Blacks always mess up with clumsy play, can't get it right, says Masihu. And Peter Steph just gives players post-traumatic stress disorders, says Sean. It looks like Umbanambi now with a bit of an injury. Or is it? He's just taping up his boot, I believe, at this stage. But the last thing the Springboks want is an early injury here as well to their hooker. Although, I mean, they've got Malcolm Marks off the bench, so it's not exactly a bad choice. Okay, Bongi Umanambi just clarifying with the referee, I'm not injured, it's just my rugby boot that is playing up a little bit. They're showing Malcolm Marks, but I don't think Marks will need to come on the field if it is just that boot playing up. I will mention while we've got this little bit of a stoppage, anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are currently sitting less than 400 away from 54,000 subscribers. So if you do want to help us get there, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Why don't you guys give me a clear picture? Says Anthony, are you talking about like being able to see the game, Anthony, or just like painting a picture in your head? We can't fly without wings, come on the ABs. Says Jaden there. I watched an All Blacks versus Bot game in New Zealand and one in South Africa, says Kim. And $1,000 for a sticker. Who's smoking what to charge that for a sticker? Says Alokin. Is that on YouTube and the donations? Yeah, they've got some strange options that you can get. I think we've had a $300 sticker before. How's the officiating so far? A lot more strict than last game. We've seen 2 yellow cards. We've also seen Matthew Carley already give one for taking too long in the breakdown for being able to clear the ball. That was actually the first play of the game from Grant Williams. Now Umbanambi, another line-out throw here. It's going to be nicely claimed by Ebenezer. Every line-out in this game, though, has been contested between these two sides. Seal Khaleesi tackled low by Geordie Barrett. Now across to Ebenezer, running straight at Artie Savi, who tried to strip the ball from him. Williams, 40 metres out from the line. Damien Delende cutting off to the right-hand side. Been back and forth so far between these two teams. Grant Williams goes back across to Bongi Umbanambi. They weren't on the body, or on the ball, I should say. Sil Khaleesi, 2-man tackle. Ratama tries to get in, loses his footing. Already 20 minutes down in this contest. Savia, well, in fact, it was Vai, cuts it down. Carl Urban is Kiwi, Keith Urban is an Aussie. Good morning, Amish. Says Daniel, welcome in, welcome, bro. In there as well from Patson. We've got a couple new channel members, Manita as well as Sinjin. So thank you very much, you two, for hitting that channel membership button. You now have access to those channel emojis, including the little ones that you do see occasionally popping up in the chat. I think we're going to add a few more of them in the near future. So do let me know, ladies and gents, in terms of the emojis, what else would you like to see available? We have got there... sending a strong drink your way, says Caitlin to Scrum. Lads, great commentating, keep it up. My feed is a bit delayed, but I'd rather listen to you. Grant Williams going off to the left-hand side. Ebenezer finding the offload to Sio Khaleesi. Grant Williams going to be tackled well by Tupove. Khaleesi gets another offload. It's gone backwards. Now Jesse Creel. Good pace from him. But McKenzie makes that tackle. Barrett was on the ball. But he doesn't get a Matthew Carley. Almost gets nailed in a tackle, but just manages to evade. The Springboks, they want some points on the board. They've got a man off the field, but so do the All Blacks, which means we're 14 on 14. Oxnashire almost goes through. Phase after phase, 6 in a row for the Springboks. Oh, he played the halfback there, Artie Savia. Williams had his hands on the ball. He took them off, and then Savia cleaned them up. Peter Steph the toy now tackled low. To Mighty Williams, not able to get the turnover. Vili LaRue, little chip in behind, awkward bouncing one. That was slapped back by Cortez Ratama, but they will go back for the original penalty. I'm on holiday in Iceland, only channel I can find live. Cheers, Cara. Says Cara there. And says Mr. Orland, so they are going back for the penalty against Artie Savia. That was playing the halfback, ladies and gents. Okay, Artie Savia just asking questions of Matthew Carley there. Do you think South Africa leaving Super Rugby has hurt the All Blacks and the Australians? Says Locke, and I think that's one of those ones that many people would go back and forth with, like, for ages. But it's one of those ones, like, I do miss the South Africans in it, but I also love the fact that they're playing in the URC because that means we get to cover 2 different competitions every single time. That's what I'm talking about. It's still there, says Anthony. Where to watch the game, says Busi Siwi. Hopefully I've said that correctly, but it is on DSTV if you're in South Africa. Unfortunately, it's not on SABC today like it was last week. It's going to be a line-out throw now. Bongi Umbanambi throws it in. Nicely taken by Ruan Nokia. At the moment, looking like Ludiacha 2.0 with his haircut and the beard. Advantage for the Springboks again. 10 metres from the line. Grant Williams goes across to Damien Dealindi. Tackle well. Going for a bit of a counter-ruck there, New Zealand. They weren't able to get it. Franz Malaharba now tackled by Osafo Moore. Selling a dummy from Grant Williams. Tried to do what he did last week up against New Zealand. Damien Dealindi, another low tackle made on him by Scott Barrett. They are still under penalty advantage. Satiti can't get the turnover. Peter Steph the toy. Cross there. Barrett making the tackle. Sam Cane trying to get over the ball. He wins the penalty. Tell you what, that's a lucky one there, because I thought that Geordie Barrett may have still been slightly in the way, but we'll see a replay here to see whether or not that was the case. But New Zealand only a couple metres out from their line just win that penalty. URC is much better competition with the South African teams. From a Scot, we love having them in the comp, says David. We have got there, you must call my name out too. I'm going to write my name in the comments. Llewellyn is in the chat. Follows one. Welcome in once again. Geordie Barrett kicking this one into touch. We had a different Llewellyn, I should say. A little while ago. Sam Cane. Yeah, fair play. He's actually got that one. Sam Cane. The only other thing could have been, was it through the gate that he got in there? But it's a try-saving tackle for Sam Cane. Asafo Moore getting ready to throw this one. Okay, South Africa closing the gap, getting told off by Matthew Carley. He said, you're creeping in a little bit too much there. Don't move across is the comment. And then they move across. But now it's going to be thrown in to the front there. Scott Barrett manages to claim it for the All Blacks. Cortez Ratama goes back to Damien McKenzie, who will sink the slipper into it and kick it straight down the middle. A little while ago in the commentator voice, oh, big wide cutout pass goes over the top of Chisel and Colby. And New Zealand now have got the line out 40 metres out. Now, Jasper Wiese, he will return back onto the field. They will be back to 15 on the field. New Zealand still 1 minute away from having Sever Reese back out on the park as well. What a nameless kick. What a nameless pass, says Sally. Yeah, both of these sides making a lot of errors early on in this contest. Perhaps a lot of early nerves. Big run from Rico Ioane. Now Ratama looking to the short side again to Mighty Williams. They're looping around. That was a forward pass. Asafo Moore, yep, they have gone back for it. It's a little bit forward from Cortez Ratama. New Zealand had some good go forward had it not been for that one travelling forward out of the hands of Ratama. But we're 25 minutes down already, ladies and gentlemen. Vili Leroux is a weakness for the Boks, says Gita. And this game can be won in the last 10 minutes by the team that can apply the pressure, go the Bok, says Rajin. And there as well, but yeah, just a little bit forward from Cortez Ratama. Looks like Cody Taylor is about to make his way back out onto the field as well. He has passed his HIA, although he still doesn't look 100% there, Cody Taylor. Vili Leroux is an incredible playmaker, leave him alone, says Sino T. And that's the thing, with the way, is that Graham Henry? Looks like Graham Henry, but I don't think it was. But the thing with this game is because of what happened last week, right? Everyone knows that, yes, the first 60 minutes is important and you can build a lead and whatnot, but that last 20 is where this game is going to be won or lost for either of these sides. So this is all a technicality at the moment, per se, for what's going to happen later on. And take him off. What's wrong with coach? Says Silla, and listening from Santiago, Chile. And go the Bok. Thanks for the commentary, says V. Smith. Thank you very much for being here, mate. Greatly appreciated. Argentina versus Australia, the next game of the Rugby Championship that we are covering. And we have got South Africa will win, says Sinatiki in there as well. But now we have got ourselves the scrum. Grant Williams will be feeding this one in. 30 seconds remaining of the Sevu Reece scrum. We have got their bring back picking people in form. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Grant Williams. Now to put this ball in. They are about 40 metres out from the line now for the Springboks. And that is their line, I should mention. Watching coverage from Mauritius, thanks. Says Kim there. How many people were on this commentary last week since the game was on SABC? Says Sino. I think we probably had, I'd say about half as many as we have at the moment, or somewhere along those lines, just because, like, it should have been on SABC this game as well. If you're going to do one, you got to do both. Definitely if it's going to be for the Freedom Cup. You know, at the end of the day, like, it's just a massive opportunity for them to be able to, you know, just get more coverage out there for South African supporters. Grant Williams, that's a big scrum from New Zealand, trying to hold their own and push that a little bit harder. Nice flat run from Damien Dialende. Now Williams looks off to the left-hand side. They will still target that wing where Sevu Reece is not. Suffer more. That looked like a knock-on from Oxnashire. Yes, it was. And New Zealand. That's the weirdest way I've ever said New Zealand, but they will now have the scrum. So much faith, fearless. I think Khaleesi would never get picked. Says RJJ, but Cody Taylor as well as Sevu Reece, they are both making their way back onto the field. Now, Suffer more with the exception of the bad first line out. He's looked a lot better, so he will be looking forward to his chance in the second half to make his way back out onto the field. But I will mention anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are currently less than 300 away for the 54,000. So if you do want to help us, be sure to hit that subscribe button. The Mexican wave is going around the stadium. And your scoreboard lack of update, a source of irritation, says Stefan. I think it's just updated, if I'm correct, because it does now have 28, which I think is 30 seconds ahead of where we are. Now, it's going to be left-hand side. Cortez Ratama goes off to Geordie Barrett. Oh, Khaleesi straight in there, but no rolling away from Grant Williams. So another penalty to New Zealand and another opportunity to add 3 more points. You're welcome, beautiful podcast. You're welcome, beautiful people, I should say, from Bussy, and not too bad. For us who loves rugby, we can't watch because we don't have DSTV. Or too bad, says Namusa. Yeah, I agree. I feel like they should have had this game free to air just like the first one. Cody Taylor looking bad, says Wayne. He's only just made his way back out onto the field after that head knock. So I'm not 100% sure that he is all right at this point, but he must have passed the HIA. Chance here for New Zealand to be able to line up another kick here. Currently sitting 1 from 1, the leading point scorer in the competition, Damien McKenzie. Hamish having to read the comments in between all the insanity. Says Caitlin, yeah, it's hard to do. Like, there are many, many comments coming through. I do apologise if I am missing certain comments too, ladies and gents. Do try our best to read most of them. Also, I will go back and watch the chat after the stream so that I can read the ones that I've missed. But that one from McKenzie, he's got it over. And that is now going to make the score 6-0 for New Zealand. Is this the actual rematch? It is indeed. Currently 6-0 for New Zealand after 29 minutes in this matchup. And that's what the live comment man says. The D, no worries at all. Like I said, anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have got plenty more Rugby Championship action, including the Australia versus Argentina game that is happening in only a few hours' time. But Rico Ioane running it straight at Peter Steph Toy. I hate Mackenzie, says Sino T. Are you wearing matching pants? I am not, no. I've got shorts on, even though it's only 6 degrees Celsius here in New Zealand. Nice tackle from Severis, actually allowing that ball to bounce, or at least allowing Willie LaRue to get to the ground first. That's a rough pass. New Zealand have got the advantage for the knock-on. That will now end, though, because Jordy Barrett has kicked that ball down the middle of the field. Andre Pollard cleans up at the back. 30 minutes in, the Springboks yet to get themselves a point. Mackenzie, great take. Willie LaRue does make the tackle. Cortez Ratama back into the pocket to Jordan. Not normally known for his kicking. Gets it down the middle of the park again. Running on to this one. Pollard, they've got the chance. Nice flat ball to Kane and Moody. Caught in no man's land was Mark DeLee. He's very lucky that Will Jordan make the tackle for him. Is there a hot Kiwi girl under the table? Not that I know of. I think there's a drink bottle, but that's not quite the same thing, I don't think. Grant Williams goes off to Etzebeth, tackled by Cody Taylor. And Savia over the ball, but gives away the penalty. Never clearly released, says Matthew Carley. Okay, Carley and Savia are not getting along for this game. That's now 2 that he has penalised them for, and Savia has felt like he wasn't in the wrong for either of them. SABC is not free to wear. You're supposed to pay a licence, says Bruce. Is this the actual rematch? It is indeed. Yes, so Pollard will now have the first opportunity to add points for the Springboks. We got to watch last week, yes, but seriously missed your commentary. You're great, thanks, says Gary. Thank you very much, mate. Savia, very quick into that breakdown. 43 metres out. There's an imposter, Hamish, in the chat. Welcome, says Caitlin. And come on, Savia, beast at getting that ball surely, says Kershaw. Now, he's got 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Taking his time. And that one's gone over, ladies and gents. So that will make the score now 6-3. Tobo has said Tony Brown must go. Our backs are bad. I mean, so far throughout the Rugby Championship, though, in the other games, they have scored 12. And also, they're on their longest streak of scoring 30-plus points. In fact, if they win this game, that would be, or they need 30 points, of course, but I think they're on a tied longest streak of scoring 30-plus points. But I guess, people like to blame Tony Brown, but then you also have to look at the players who are there. Like, Pollard is never going to have that same attacking prowess as Sasha in that number 10 jersey. So I feel like you should look more at the players rather than the coach in that regard. Now, Mackenzie hasn't taken that one cleanly, which now gives Sio Khaleesi the ball. And it's going to be going back for the knock-on. Making a comeback already, says Basil. Thanks, says GG Squads. Andre Pollard is equal to Dan Carter, says Sean. And your backs are great, our backs are average, says Doctor. And in a town in Scotland, not one of the 5 venues able to show the game. We'll never learn. Thanks for the commentary, says Chris B. Yeah, it was actually knocked on by Jordy Barrett rather than Damien McKenzie. Please replace Willie, Andre, and Damien, says Stefan. And ref is strict. He's very strict. Compared to last week, I feel like this ref is not letting anything be, I guess you could say anything but certain. Why can't our backs be comfortable with the ball? Like robots. Only player we have ever had that could play with Danny Gerber, or could play with Danny Gerber. And do you really see Pollard is equal to DC10? Tell me you've never watched the game, says Bill. I don't like how quick you guys are to undermine Pollard. The Rugby World Cup was just a couple of months ago. Come on, says Sino T. Yeah, although it's more so the try-scoring side of things, is what I was referencing. The fact that, people are complaining about Tony Brown not allowing these backs to score tries. But at the same time, it's not completely Brown's fault, I don't think. Now, Jasper Visa on the short side for the scrum. Cortez Ratama, though, he's over the ball, and he's got the penalty for the All Blacks. One of the smallest players, if not the smallest, on the field. Cortez Ratama gets that turnover. We have got there, Screw Tony Brown. Our backs are bad, says Tobo there. And we got there, shot Cortez, says Rodney as well. But now Jordie Barrett, he will be able to kick this one towards the touchline. He's gone right for the corner by the looks of it. Yes, he has. Released into, oh no, never mind, that's gone way back. It's only actually 40 metres out. It looked good at the time though. I appreciate what you are doing, says Amy. And we are going to be here for every game of the Rugby Championship. So anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are currently on the road to 54,000 and we are only 200 away now. Little bit of a scrappy line out there for New Zealand. Cortez Ratama struggling to regather that ball. But he's been able to do so, and now Mackenzie will play halfback. Wallace Satiti trying to break through Ibn Itzebeth. Both of these sides, 35 minutes in, we are yet to see a try scored. Our winner of the next Rugby World Cup games, 3 years' time is when we will see that next Rugby World Cup. Now Andre Pollard going back across to the left-hand side here, trying the cross kick. It's going to bounce awkwardly. Sits back up for Rico Ioane, who manages to keep it in the play. Being wrestled down. Counter ruck coming from Jesse Creel, but the ball's still available for New Zealand. Mr. Commentator needs a Sfuff special South African undies. So here's Caleb. Big run from Wallace Satiti. Gets through Itzebeth. It's been a handful for the veteran all game. Mark Talia doesn't know how to pass, so he just runs it straight. Ratama goes across to Satiti. Oxnechet rushing up Will Jordan. Manages to evade him. Gets round Peter Steph the toy. Jordie Barrett sits down Khaleesi. The All Blacks having some very good phases back to back here. Ratama, Satiti with the no-look pass. Didn't find the hands, but that might open up more opportunity till Rico Ioane has dropped the ball. And they'll go back now for the scrum for the Springboks. The All Blacks, they were willing to throw it around. An interesting stat I saw was last game we didn't see a single offload from the Springboks throughout their contest. New Zealand have it around the 10. But just the timing issue there. Rico Ioane not running the right line. He ended up right in the same spot as Damian McKenzie. Cheyenne has become a member. Thank you very much, Cheyenne. You have now got access to exclusive emojis on the channel, including, but not limited to, that one of me looking very confused, as well as a New Zealand one, and I think the South African one is still a thing. It's quite a nice little emoji there. Do let me know. Is the South African one still an emoji? Or has it been taken away? You also get a Christmas one, which we are getting very close to, but scrum feed now for the South Africans. Once again, Grant Williams. Ricky has also become a channel member. Thank you very much, Ricky. Now, solid scrum, competitive. New Zealand forcing them backwards, but Williams manages to get the ball out. Lindy decides to cut back on the inside, wrestling through Jordie Barrett, who's ripped him in to the turf. Itzebeth tackled again, this time by Tupove. Williams getting some good front foot going forward. Oxnechet almost tackled off the ball. Cody Taylor gets the turnover again for New Zealand. And the backs are bad. I watch channel is the game on. In South Africa, someone said it was not 2:01, but I assume it's very close to that. But hopefully someone in South Africa on DSTV can actually let us know what channel the game has taken place on. And Boxer isolating themselves, says Rodney. Looks like Jordie Barrett again will kick this one towards the touchline. And go the All Blacks, says Lottie there, and try before half-time, says Sino. That one's gone out. We're going to see the replay here. I thought Tamaiti Williams made a tackle off the ball, which I think is what they're showing in slow motion there. So I feel like it's probably one of those ones that it could have gone either way. Channel 211, someone has just mentioned for this contest. Now Cody Taylor, ready to throw this one in. We've only got 2 minutes remaining and we are yet to see a try scored at this stage of the contest. But it's thrown over the top. Taylor takes it straight into the hands of Satiti. Now the rolling ball for New Zealand. I believe this is the first rolling ball we've actually seen attempted by either side in this contest. Another big run from Cody Taylor. Moves up to 22 metres out. Now nice run from Satiti. Aggressively reaching for it. He wants as much ball in his hands as he can. Now Savia and behind to McKenzie. Rico's just really in the shadow of McKenzie. Any chance at the moment? As the coach would say in a game of under 5, spread out, boys. 5, or less than 5, in fact, 1 minute remaining. In this first half, Cody Taylor again running forward. Now Sevu Reece with a pick and go. He's tackled by Etzebeth. Up to 5 phases now for New Zealand. Satiti in behind to McKenzie. Slinging it out wide. Mark Talia. He had Rico with him, but he looks straight towards the try line here, Talia. 10 metres out from the try line for New Zealand. Short side. Geordie Barrett, 2-man tackle. Pollard gets in. Oh, that's an interesting one. Carly was about to give the penalty, but Pollard grabbing that one out of the back of New Zealand's breakdown. They will have the line out 10 metres out from the line now. Hot tour, says John there. Hello, John. Thank you for responding to me. I'll be pleased either Team Southern Hemisphere, Team Sport, says Amy there. Now we have got there what is going on here, says Goals to Oh yeah, very low scoring test match feel between these two sides. Only 7 seconds remaining in the half. It's thrown up. Satiti goes back to Artie Savia. This first half has been absolutely flying by to Mighty Williams. Needs a support, man. Ratama back across to Satiti. He's had a really impressive game at 6 so far for the All Blacks. But can they get over before the end of the first half, or will there be a turnover for South Africa? They give away the penalty. And that was Jasper Visa again. Oh no, in fact, I've said it's Ludiacha this time. And great as always, Hamish. Good to hear you again, says James Livingston. Now, chance. I think Jeff Wilson just called him Norche. Norche? Is that how they said it? Is it closer to Norche or Nokia? A turnover block, says Kathy. We need live moving images. Excellent commentary, says Chris, but that kick has gone over for New Zealand, so that will be half-time in this game, ladies and gentlemen. 9 points to 3. A low-scoring one. Both of these sides being competitive, and they've had their moments. That's the big thing. Both teams have had chances, but going into the second half, there is still plenty of time remaining for this game to completely turn around. Got their welcome back in there as well for the Acha. Yeah, he looks just like him, doesn't he? But yeah, not quite the same for Roanokia. But first half, competitive, close. We're going to look through at a few of the stats in a very short moment, and I don't think there'll be too much splitting these two sides. That was pathetic by the Springboks, says JP. I'm just thinking, Springboks, they were in the 22 once, weren't they? Were they in it any other time that I'm forgetting? Because New Zealand, I think, have visited the 22 maybe 3 times. South Africa, I can only think of one visit that we have seen. Ioane is rubbish. Yeah, he's had a poor first half. He seems to be wanting to be exactly where Damian McKenzie is. Like Damian McKenzie's his big brother and he's just following him around. But someone who's had a great game so far for New Zealand is Wallace Satiti. He's done extremely well in terms of getting that physicality up. The ref has asked, says Redline, which penalty did you not like? Redline. Do let me know. Rassi is going to have quite a chat with the boys. As Africa is not being outplayed, dude. Says Francois, which is not what anyone really said. I don't think. I just said that they hadn't got into the 22. Rassi is going to, oh no, I read that one. You know how hard your mods were working in the chat during that first half? Probably very hard, I would say. Definitely because of the extra numbers of people who weren't happy that it's not being shown on SABC. Yes, they are, says Mad. And also we have got their, the game's not over yet, says Leanne. Exactly right. I mentioned it from the get-go. In this game, the first 60 minutes is going to be great, but the last 20 minutes is where this game will be decided. It will be whether or not New Zealand can stop that Springboks bench. Because at the moment, they lead by 6. And we learned last week 10 points is not enough. Look, I'm not comfortable, but I'll take it. Says Tony there. Yeah, there's certainly more points that can be scored out there on the field in the second 40 minutes. Still some great benches to make their way on as well. Springboks look flat. Huge amount of mistakes. I can't believe it. Says Collins. Yeah, both of these sides dropping the ball a lot. We had a lot more scrums this week than we had last week. We have got there Nokia, as always pronounced Anokia. Says Leona. Yes, I was confused when I heard Jeff Wilson say Notcha or not Jay, I think he called him, or something like that, which was not quite right. A ref is strict on the call, says Rodney. Yeah, he's pretty much put his foot down from the get-go, and something that was talked about last week was not enough decisiveness from the refereeing crew. Matthew Carley's gone out there and he said, if I see something, I'm penalising it, and you're not going to change my mind. So, like, in some regards, that's good. In other regards, we've had a lot of penalties already throughout this first half. I agree. LaRue needs to be subbed. Don't get why he's starting the game. Yeah, I think Sasha Feinberg and Ngomazulu off the bench will change this game for South Africa when it comes to their attack. Same with Lukhanyo. Those two men are the ones that could make a difference big time for the South Africans. Jaden Hendrickse, I'm curious to see how he goes, just because we haven't really seen him for the Springboks in quite some time. The ref was very consistent so far. Says Hirsch there. And also we have got there, don't feel bad about SABC. This is way better. Says Jean, thank you very much, mate. And we are going to be here, of course, for the next game taking place between Australia and Argentina, as well as the games in 2 weeks' time, Argentina versus South Africa. Now, depending on what happens in this game will depend on whether South Africa have already secured the Rugby Championship or whether they do need one more win to be able to get that job done. Satiti playing well just like his dad. Yeah, Wallace Satiti, I think, has been the best forward on the field for New Zealand. I also think that Cody Taylor's stepped up massively in terms of, even though he's ended up with a bit of an injury and went off for an HIA, he's still come back on and looked like he's going to be one of the main impact players for New Zealand throughout this one. Now, those who refuse to pay for DSTV need to accept no streaming. Eventually, they'll fall in love with his way of life, says Caitlin. And also, we have got their good ref today and go the Bok. It'll be interesting to see how the ABs has changed their attack to more so kicking game than all-out attack, says Tahir. And Nokia, says Chris. And there as well. And also, we've got there Quagga plays like an AB. Can we trade him? Says a random Buttworthy is quite random. That is quite a random name too. But yeah, so far, Quagga Smith throughout this Rugby Championship, anytime he makes his way onto the field, has been absolutely insane. He is currently second equal for the leading try scorers in the competition. And, you know, he could be leading try scorer by the end of this game if we see a try in this game. We are still waiting for one. We haven't got one as of yet. Some interesting stats throughout this first half. Visits to the opposition 22. Neither side have visited the opposition 22. Wow. We've had a couple lineouts, but I guess that doesn't count as visiting it. That means you're already there, I guess, because of the lineout throw. But that is an incredible stat, ladies and gentlemen, that no one has been able to actually get into the opposition 22 unless it's off a penalty. The game being broadcast on SABC radio, but I prefer your commentary because you're non-biased, says George. That one hit me in the face real quick, that sneeze. Quagga, it is time. Try time marks. Shares Jean there too. I just think we need to get them to slow down. Second half we will get better, says Marco. Yeah, I think that both sides, there were signs of just trying to rush it and also not really, like, not thinking, but like not planning out what they were going to do their next couple moves, if that makes sense. But possession, 51% for New Zealand, 51% territory for South Africa, 7 penalties against South Africa compared to the 5 of New Zealand. Both sides have had a yellow card. South Africa having more carry meters, 177 compared to 115. And bless you, brother, said Froglog there. And also we have got a new member, Matia. Thank you very much. Or Matia, it might be. And Quagga will be in good time, but do not rely on him too much. Can only perform to his best with class ball and some space, says Kuno Weki. Although that man just seems to find a way of making that happen, doesn't he? And to break down rucks is a concern for the Bok, says Hirsch in there. It's a TT has some class about him, says Dime Till Death. And he's had it all throughout Super Rugby Pacific. Like, he's one of those players that, like, he's underappreciated, I think, for what he did for this Chiefs season. How's the TT going? He's going very well. Missed tackles, a lot of them throughout this game. I think South Africa have made 42. They've missed 22 tackles. That is their worst percentage they've had throughout this whole Rugby Championship. New Zealand, they aren't much better, but they're still a little bit better in terms of those stats. The second half not too far away from starting out. Quagga doesn't need space here. He makes it, doesn't he? Oh, Quagga Smith. But looking through at player stats so far, Wallace Satiti has been phenomenal for New Zealand. He's only been credited with 19 metres though, but of those 19 metres, he has beaten 4 defenders and he has also had 1 clean break, as well as an offload, which is more than South Africa had last week. An interesting stat that I did see was the fact that they hadn't offload at all for their last contest. They've already offloaded 3 times, most running meters coming for Dialende alongside Willie Leroux. Defensively, we've seen some struggles. We've seen Andre Pollard miss 3 tackles. We've seen Grant Williams miss 3. Jesper Wies's miss 3. Oxnard missed 3. 2 missed for Sia Khaleesi. 2 missed for Etzebeth. 2 missed for Mbonambi. And 4 missed for Kanan Moody. He has got 3 tackles, but he's missed 4 for New Zealand. 3 missed tackles for Wallace Satiti. That's an interesting one. I didn't realise he would have missed so many because he's been very busy. 10 tackles made by Tyrell Lomax, who is leading the charge. We've also got a donation from Caitlin. Thank you very much, Caitlin. It is greatly appreciated. The South African Rand, 39.99 in there. So that's like, what's the smaller thing than a Rand? So it's like 39 Rand. What's this thing? Like, is it 99 cents? No, cents is probably not the right one. We've got cents. Well, some would disagree that I have cents, but what's the 99 part? Or is it just that you say like something and it's all Rand rather than like a smaller amount? If that makes sense. We got a new member, Geraldine. Thank you very much for hitting that membership button. Cents. Oh, it is cents. Okay. Fair enough. I almost talked myself out of thinking it was called cents there. I'm throwing a few bucks for the streams. I love your work, Hame Dog. Says Tony, thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciate it. We are currently at halftime, ladies and gentlemen, but just around the corner from the second half getting underway. How many new members has there been in the stream? There's been a lot overall, so a lot of new people will be able to access those emojis on the channel. But anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are currently only 125 subscribers away from 54,000. So let's see if we can get there by halftime. 1,000 cents to the Rand, says Dana there. And we do have cents in South Africa too, says Natasha. And there we go. I learned something bad. No, I learned something new. I read Rands as bad. That's why I said I learned something bad. Your waffling bro says, John, I often waffle at 4 a.m. Second half, not too far away, ladies and gents. 6 points separating these two sides. I got all excited and I made my try scorer's banner, but there's no one on it at the moment. But these are the benches. Malcolm Marks, Gerhard Stennekamp and Vincent Koch for the South Africans. Then Kwaka Smith and Eldrick Lowe. I think that those two will definitely be able to change this game for the Boks. Jaden Hendrickse, Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu and Lukanyo Wam as the other 3 back replacements for New Zealand. Asafo Moore, he did have a short amount of time out there on the field. Ofa Tuangafasi and Fletcher Null as the other 2 front row replacements. Sam Derry, Luke Jacobson, TJ Perenara, Anton Leonard-Brown, and also Bowden Barrett. I got another donation. Thanks for the show, says Jack Fuller. Thank you very much, mate. Everyone's very generous during this halftime break. I'm subbed, says Chazom, so thank you very much too, mate. But do let me know your in-score predictions in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. We have only got 40 minutes remaining between these two sides until we have to wait pretty much a year before we get to see them play again. So we want to see some massive action. We want to see a close test match, which at the moment is exactly what we have got. What happened to Justin Marshall? His comments of Pro South Africa during coverage, says HD23. So I believe he was on the sideline for the last match. I'm not sure what he's doing now. I think he was tied up with Supersport, though, so you may be able to find him in the Supersport coverage rather than the New Zealand one. We've got another donation from Vision there. Come on, South Africans, let's show some love, says Vision. I'm not going to read that last bit, but thank you very much for your donation. Greatly appreciated. I listened to Amish. I have a live life link, says Outlaw. With all the money, you get an import some biltong, says Marco there. Maybe. Another year, well, yeah, it seems like a really long time, doesn't it? The fact that we've already had a year since the last Rugby World Cup is massive. Like, it doesn't feel like it's been 365 days, but it has been. So that is pretty incredible. But looking through at the match center once again, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like I'm going to sneeze again, so I'm going to quickly mute myself so that I can sneeze while you guys can't hear me. One sec. We're good. And Barrett is going to be a problem, says Wayne. I mean, the impact that he had up against the English was huge. So I feel like this is going to be one of those contests that maybe he can have that same kind of impact. 233 metres gained from the Springboks so far compared to the 183 that we saw from New Zealand. Defenders beaten. New Zealand have beaten 26 defenders. I have to say, I'm not used to seeing so many missed tackles for the Springboks. So it is an interesting one. The fact that going into the second half, they're going to have that massive impact and try and completely change this game. And I think they can do it. I think that it's still going to be extremely close, bless you for the sneeze. Says Boosie there and bless brother. Says to him, thanks for your coverage, young man. Says Wayne Taylor. And there as well, it's greatly appreciated you all being here. Like I said, anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. But we are not too far away from the second 40 minutes. If I want to watch, what should I do? So you can check out SABC, Stan Sport, NZ Plus, I think, have this game if you're lucky, if you've got a VPN to certain areas. Got another donation from Hirsch, which is buy a coffee. I'm calling this game now. Says William. Watch time with the match continue. Probably about 3 minutes time is where we will see these two sides take back to the field to be ready to go for the second match. Who's getting the intercept try this week, says Chris Serro. Of course, that was what happened early on in the second half of the last contest. We saw Geordie Barrett get himself that steal. Some snollies on some snollies. What are snollies? Some snollies on top of your nose, like up here? What do you mean? We need some running on the field. All this standing around and passing not going to work, says Theo. And bot for life till the dead, says Christo. And there as well, but both sides making their way out of the tunnel at Cape Town Stadium. We are ready to go for the second 40 minutes. No tries in this game as of yet, ladies and gentlemen. The second half is just about to begin. Do let me know your end score predictions. Anyone who hasn't already. The backs mediocre to poor on the box side. Pollard, Dialende, LaRue way past their sell-by date. Although Damien Dialende last week was phenomenal. He got himself a couple crucial turnovers for the Springboks, which I think did make quite the difference. So nice to join the chat. How are you, says Nazarene. Doing very well. Hopefully you are enjoying the game at this point. 6 points difference, and we are just about underway for the second half. You can do this. South Africa says Extreme Business Network. Now Pollard. We're kicking this one off from right to left to get us back underway for another half of Rugby Championship action. The Freedom Cup is on the line. The Rugby Championship is also on the line. And Pollard kicks off high to get us underway for the second 40. Well taken inside of the 22 by Geordie Barrett. And relentlessness coming from the Springboks with Eben Etzebeth and Kanan Moody both chasing. Being told to use it. Ratama goes across to his Chiefs team. May Wallace Atiti, he breaks through again. Tell you what, the All Blacks may have just found a bit of a gem in that number 6 jersey. Geordie Barrett kicks it downfield. It was taken back, so unable to find the touchline with that one. Now Pollard going to be kicking this one downfield. Chipped up high. Damien McKenzie running onto it and claims it nicely. Pollard following up with a tackle of his own. Still plenty of time left in this contest for both of these sides to have a chance of walking away with the victory. If New Zealand win it, the Freedom Cup will stay in New Zealand for another year. Cody Taylor, another good run from him. Better Steph Toy though, springing back up to his feet, almost got the turnover. And the Rue is not on the top 10 for no reason. It's going to be kicked high from Cortez Ratama. Severies going up for a great take from Vili LaRue. That's a deliberate knockdown from Rico Ioane, or they might just call it as a knock-on there. Okay, it's just a knock-on. Says the ref. Flat ball to Jasper Visa. Ox Nisher. Space opening up now on the outside. Vili LaRue goes to Damien Dialende, just jogging up towards the halfway line. Vati drags him down and Barrett gets over the ball and wins the penalty for New Zealand. Their work in the breakdown has been a lot stronger this week than we saw last week for New Zealand. My money is on the Springboks, says Josh Wan. And just joined. How's the ref this week? A lot more strict, but it's one of those ones that I feel like both sides now know what to expect from Matthew Carley in this contest, because straight away early on gave that one against Grant Williams for taking too long in the breakdown. And listen live underneath the mountains in Spain. Couldn't find the stream for the life of me. This is a great channel, says Stu. Thank you very much. And Stu, it looks like you have got a massive mustache, I believe. So congratulations on that. I'm not really good at growing them. Go the box, says Kira there. I want to see some tries, only by New Zealand, says Novmum, although now we are going to see McKenzie lining up another kick at the post. Quite a long kick here for Mackenzie. It will be right on the verge of his range. About 55 metres out. How's it from Mosenberg? Cape Town, thanks for this commentary. No worries at all. Is there a video stream? Sadly, due to licensing, we're unable to show any match footage or audio. But a big kick from Mackenzie. It's missing away to the right-hand side and also didn't have the distance. So I don't think Mackenzie will be... Wasn't the point of having Geordie Barrett in the team because he can kick long ones? Is that not why he's there? Oh, drop ball from Oxney. They've said it's gone backwards. A little bit lucky there for the Ox. Willie LaRue goes across to Jesse Creel. One more pass on the outside to Kanan Moody. Chopped down by Tamaiti Williams. Counter-right coming from New Zealand. No good. What is the score? At the moment it is 9 points to 3. Rush defence. Etzebeth. Pollard now runs it. The All Blacks weren't anticipating that. He tries the pass. It's a loose one. And Willie LaRue manages to jump on it. Etzebeth this time knocks it backwards, says the referee again. Geordie Barrett wanting the penalty. He does not receive it. J.E. has become a member. You have a decent stash growing on your face. You're still young, says Caitlin. Yeah, one day it might get a bit bigger. The mustache, that is. Jesse Creel, 45 metres out from the All Blacks line. Grant Williams going back across to Visa. Andre Pollard and behind Willie LaRue. They've got numbers here. Out wide to Chisel and Colby. Could be on the cards. Better Steph Toy wrestled down by Sever Reese. Great phase play here for the Springboks. Etzebeth dumped down by Scott Barrett. Williams again, 6 phases in a row. Willie LaRue. Anytime the Springboks get 7 or so phases, you just feel like something's about to happen. Cody Taylor couldn't quite get that turnover. Ruan Nokia tackled again. Satiti wrestled down. Pick and go from Jasper Visa. New Zealand and off their feet. And that's going to be the penalty advantage now. So the Springboks can throw everything at this. Willie LaRue sniping run passes to Will Jordan. It was almost out wide to Chisel and Colby. Are you right? New Zealand 2015 mustache champion. Then came fourth at the World Champs in Austria. We'll tell you what, Sam. Or sorry, Stu, I should say. We've got to put this thing up. Look at this. Look at the size of that thing. Like people say that Nick White's got a bit of a stash on him. That thing puts Nick White back in elementary school, as they call it overseas. We call it primary school, but I don't know if everyone else calls it primary, so I said elementary, you know. But yeah, nice stash on you. But nice run from Willie LaRue here. Just went for that pass, but it went straight into the hands of Will Jordan. And it looks like some subs are about to be made, ladies and gents. Malcolm Marks, I should say. I get a little bit of tongue rolling. And that one, he will make his way onto the field for Bongi Umbanambi. I think that is one of the 2 changes. They've also got Lukanyawam. He will make his way onto the field for Kanan Moody, who hasn't quite had the game that he would have desired in this case. So I would say what's going to happen is Jesse Creel will go to 14, and then Lukanyawam will take on 13, at a guess. Oh, and Pollard's off for Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu. They've decided to make the extra change here for the Springboks, emptying their bench almost at this point, or at least a fair majority of them. 3 changes all in one moment. And go the All Blacks, show them boys go, says Kathy. And I think this is where the game will change, ladies and gents. Oh, wait, no, Pollard's still on. Is Sasha on? No, Sasha was going to be coming on. They showed the thing saying he was on, but then Pollard is staying out there. Is he now coming off? Or is he still... No, it seems like he's still staying on, Andre Pollard. I thought you had South African connections. Well, you're rattling off those South African names. You're nailing the South African names well. I'm mostly doing great, mate, like the commentary says. Dave, thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. Now, Malcolm Marks throwing this one in. South Africa have turned down 3 chances, have taken on 3 points. They want to try. And Malcolm Marks, he's already scored 2 throughout the Rugby Championship. He breaks off the back, gets through the tackle attempt to Sam Cane, but Barrett takes him down. Williams goes across to Peter Steph. Oh, Satiti tackling a man in front of the ball. Grant Williams off to Kulisi. Sam Cane wanted it, but couldn't quite get it. Malcolm Marx now, only a couple metres from the line. All Blacks with the scramble defence. Oxnashare, there's an offside advantage. I think that's against Severis, who already has a yellow card, has to be extremely careful not to get fully penalised. Springboks, half an inch short of the line now. Grant Williams leaves it for Eben Etzebeth. He puts it out. Did he get it down? They're going to check it. We got another I almost said a domination, but a donation from Cloud and PJ. Thank you very much. Yo, love the commentary. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. Etzebeth looks disappointed. I don't know if he scored this one. Okay, he was kind of nodding as if to say, nah, I don't think I've got it. Yep, we'll beat them again, though. Says a Lucas. They will now go upstairs. Go Hamish, says Jared. Try time, says Jean. Oh, they've clearly got the ball grounded. Etzebeth does not look confident. But then at the same time, he's walking back to halfway. 3 Black was never onside. So that's actually against Tyrell Lomax. That is short of the line for Etzebeth. From this angle. Yeah, that's not quite. Oh. There was almost on the line. But that looks like it's about that short. That angle looked better. That angle looked very good for Etzebeth, and then maybe it was pushed back. Remove Pollard, please. I think he's going to be going off the field very soon. They're going to check this a majority of the time. They need clear, compelling evidence because the on-field decision was... Wait, no, they said there was a grounding, so surely on-field was try. Okay, this angle almost looks like it is a try. The other angle... Nah, that's probably short. That angle looks good, though. Just. Maybe. But that might just be the angle. What's the benefit of subscribing versus just watching in public view? Let us know. How much great commentating, by the way. I don't think it makes too much of a difference. But, okay. On-field decision of no try, no clear grounding. The crowd are not happy with it, but it was one of those ones that it was close and could have gone either way. But yeah, pretty much all that subscribing does is also let you know when we're live streaming. Like, you'll get notifications of when our videos and streams are starting. So that makes it a little bit better. I make a sticker of your face trying to look closer there. Says Caitlin. Yeah, I think I did make the emoji face for a second. But now the Springboks, they are going to be 5 meters out and wait and see the scoreboard say 10 points to 9. They kick it into the corner again. They mean business here, but they've turned down 4 opportunities to take 3 points. If they had taken those, they would be on 15 at the moment for the Springboks. Is that a tactic that's going to backfire for this side, or are they going to get this rolling maul try? We've got to blow the whistle. Too much movement for both of the sides. In fact, there was another ball on the field, I think they've just said. Distract, it said, come on, New Zealand. Now Malcolm Marx. Interesting turning down guaranteed points, especially with Pollard. See, here's Arthur Morgan there. It's going to be thrown in, nicely taken. Better Steph the Toy. That is a very well set rolling maul for the Springboks. The All Blacks holding, but one of them's collapsed, which means now South Africa will start to get this rolling maul marching. Malcolm Marx breaks off the back. Cody Taylor in his face and manages to take him down. Sam Cane losing his footing, and he gives away another penalty. Williams wanted to take it quickly. He's saying, I took the quick tap, ref, but the referee was still talking to Sam Cane. Nice headphones, only noticed them now. Says Shazam. What do you, or who would you add to the AB squad? I mean, to be honest, like someone like a Peter Lakai could go a long way at the moment for the ABs. Just add something a little bit different in that number 7 jersey. Probably like Xavier Numia eventually, I think, could get a number 1 spot for the ABs as well, but now throwing this one out, it's going to be Cheslin Colby with the line-out throw. Goes to Ruan Nokia. And they're going to look for the rolling maul again. It's been brilliantly defended by New Zealand, shutting down the momentum straight away. Damien Dialendi runs straight at Geordie Barrett. Oxnashare tackled by Savia. New Zealand, they want that crucial turnover, but they haven't been able to get it in the last few minutes. Almost gone through was Malcolm Marx. Now Sia Khaleesi reaches out and he scored the try. The Springbok skipper with his broken face. 32 minutes remaining. The first try of the contest has just been scored. and it is Sia Khaleesi who manages to get it for the Springboks. We're going to put him in the try scorers list. He might be the only man on that list today, the way that this game is going, but Khaleesi gets it. And just breaking through. It felt like it was just going to happen for the Boks. They've been on attack for the last 5 minutes, and they couldn't break it up. The All Blacks giving away repeat infringements. And then now Andre Pollard a chance to line this one up, but their persistence has paid off because they have gone for it many, many times for the corner, that is. And now they do reap the rewards. And the first thing Khaleesi has done, says Gita, and Kane needed to wrap him up, says Xavier. Who was complaining about Sia, says Duxky. And also the couch doesn't care about the game for the All Blacks. Says Harihone, or you're meaning the coach rather than the couch, maybe. And this is not good news. A full razor. Says Manny M. He has a mustache like Merv Hughes, impressed. Says Bev Stars. But now, Damian McKenzie getting ready to kick this one off. The score is 10 points to 9. Ladies and gentlemen, the Springboks for the first time in this contest have taken the lead, and TJ Perenara has made his way onto the field now. And that is for Cortez Aratama. Now Grant Williams, inside of the 22, kicks it high, awkward bouncing one. Cody Taylor was facing the wrong way, and it sits up for Pollard, who has dropped the ball. Villy LaRue, he gets the rebound. He's dropped the ball too. The playmakers for the Springboks both put in that one down. And comeback called it, says Shazam. I expect more lead changes to Zane over by a long shot. Exactly right. These two sides are so close at the moment. See, having a huge game today. Says William then. Says Kathy. And we have got Diego Boca as well. Currently 30 minutes remaining. The Cape Town sun is setting. Fun fact, that sun is the same one we get in New Zealand. Isn't that really weird? Never mind, we're not going to go into it. But the scrum now. New Zealand have got the opportunity. We can talk about suns and planets and whatnot later. And Don Leonard-Brown is on the field for Rieko Ioane. I think that's a good switch. Rico's been not great for this game. I think it's the best way of describing it. Now, ball is going in. On to the right-hand side. Anton Leonard-Brown, first touch of the day, already breaking through one tackle of Damien Dialendi. Tupavai goes in behind to Mighty Williams, to Cody Taylor. Geordie Barrett knocks it on, I thought, but they've said it's gone backwards. Wait, Rico's still out there on the field. In fact, Anton Leonard-Brown on for Severis. Rico is not the man penalised, though. Geordie Barrett diving in off his feet. Sia Khaleesi not happening. Not happy. I can't use words anymore. I'm thinking about the sun still. Ratama was awesome. Fastball created opportunities. Game with you watching LOL. There's random but worthy. And come on the Springboks. And no DSA, or no DNA, just RSA. There's a David there. I think you see it says Deborah. But now, looks like Andre Pollard once again will kick this one for the touchline. But now Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu will make his way onto the field. Andre Pollard, since they were going to make that sub, he has dropped the ball, but he did get that 2 points. Thinking about the sun. Here's Caitlin there. Sasha could be the big change. Vincent Koch onto the field. I think that they've almost emptied the bench now by the looks of it for the South Africans. Or is it just Vincent Koch? It's just Koch at this stage. Or is it? Hang on. Who that? Was that Quagga Smith in the background? Or it might have been Eldrick Lowe, who has also made his way on. Yes, it is for Jasper Visa. Strategic, seeing as Jasper Visa also has that yellow card. And playmakers, Billy, are known for his butterfingers, says Stefan. And bring on the impact squad, says Manny M. So far, New Zealand have made, I believe it is 2 changes. Whereas the Springboks, they have made the 6. Now, big run forward from Sia Khaleesi. Seems like he's come into his own since he got that try for the Boks. Grant Williams, going for the box kick. It's kicked up high. Jesse Creel chasing after a knock on from Will Jordan. And Eldrick Lowe already getting some running meters. Williams goes off to the left-hand side. Orks Nishe goes to Sasha Feinberg. Ngome Zulu tried the kick across field. Doesn't work out. Severis is still on the field, ladies and gentlemen. That was not A smart move from Reece, though, playing the ball on the ground. And that is going... Oh, hang on. It's actually offside against New Zealand. It was a charge down, but he was in front, Sevu Reece. And thanks for the excellent commentary, Hamish, says John there as well. Sevu Reece is confused. Okay. Matthew Carley just explaining that rule, but Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu will get his first opportunity to line up the sticks in this one. What's the weather like in the Mother City? It's really nice at the moment. Yeah, Sevu Reece from an offside position. Super stuff, man. Yeah, New Zealand giving away a lot of dumb penalties throughout this game. It's what cost them in the last one. It's what could cost them in this one as well. But first kick of the game, 40 metres out, Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu. It wasn't too long ago that man had 100% kicking accuracy for the Springboks. Now, he's got a big kick to line up, and he's got it straight down the middle. 13 points to 9 now the score between these two sides. So that will slowly build a little bit more for the Springboks. And Geordie has to be subbed, says Stuart there, agree anxiety, and it's 2 a.m. Says Bite Journey. Of course, we've still got another game of the Rugby Championship just around the corner, ladies and gents. The matchup taking place between Australia and Argentina. We are going to be covering that one on the channel as well. But better stiff the toy. Now, Grant Williams, he's been told to use it. Can't take too long. Carly has been very strict with that throughout this match. Chasing it again. New Zealand look awful under the high ball. I'll say that right now. But Perenara now going across to Adi Savia. Damien McKenzie trying to find his next pass. Sio Khaleesi smashes into Geordie Barrett, who falls the wrong way. But New Zealand keep the ball. Perenara goes short side to Rieko Ioane. Bit isolated. But they do protect the ball there. The All Blacks go Argentina, says Marco. Now Scott Barrett trying to break through the tackle attempt of Vincent Koch. Gerhard Stennekamp is also on the field. So I think the only change that they haven't made is Kwagga Smith going to the short side. Rieko Ioane tackled by Jesse Creel. New Zealand, more of a methodical pace. Now that TJ Perenara is on the field, they need quick ball. But I just don't think they're getting it. He's going to go for a kick in behind. And it's a nothing kick. Although Sasha not taking it cleanly, Eldrick Lowe has to dive in and get the turnover. And Reece is still ill-disciplined. Says Dan's pans. Now Grant Williams goes back across to Vincent Koch again over the ball for Tyrell Lomax. And he gets the penalty for the All Blacks. Currently 13-9 is the score. So we are getting closer to the end of the game. Still 25 minutes remaining, though. Anything can happen in that much time. Like I said, plenty of time for there to be a change, for there to be an impact from the players who have made their way off the bench. This is starting to get into Bok territory in terms of when their side really come alive. New Zealand know that, which is why they've decided to kick this one for the corner. They've turned down another 3, though. Both of these sides have done it consistently throughout this game. They're showing the sunset at Cape Town Stadium. It's been a test match and a half at the moment. In terms of the closeness, in terms of the intensity, neither side wanting to make that error that could cost them the game. Because who knows, maybe there's going to be an interception try near the end. But Kwagga Smith now onto the field. He is second most in terms of the try scorers of the competition. He is second equal in that regard alongside Will Jordan, as well as Malcolm Marks. Now, rolling maul doesn't work out for New Zealand. DJ Perenara goes across to Anton Lennon-Brown and behind to McKenzie. To Rieko Ioane. He breaks the tackle. Gets it out to Reece. He'll pin his ears for the corner. His foot was almost on the touchline. They may look at that again. But 5 metres out from the line, McKenzie almost has the ball stripped. Perenara goes back to Satiti. Vai with the step, but wrestled down by Ludiacha Jr., also known as Roa Nokia. And now Malcolm Marks looking for the turnover. McKenzie with the skip pass. Jordan, he doesn't have anyone on his outside. The ball's still there for the ABs. And they need a try soon to build their confidence. These two sides are the most when it comes to try scored throughout the Rugby Championship. There's an advantage now for New Zealand. TJ Perenara goes back to Sam Kane. White cut out pass from Damien McKenzie. Rieko does break through one. Can he break his try scoring drought? Not quite. Reece was in touch and they'll go back. And it's another penalty out in front from the Springboks. Number 1 rule, do not be a person of extreme stupidity, says Jay. Those are smart words to live by. And the box says Evangelis. And come on, the AB says my travel hub. New Zealand this time will take on the 3 points. They know that they can't afford to go too risky at this stage. I love the way you say the names and the surnames of the Springboks. Says Marco there. And take the 3, says Jared. So that is exactly what they're going to do. They're just showing the tackle here. Etzebeth falling the wrong way. He just got trapped, unfortunately. Wasn't going to be able to roll out of that breakdown. Watching with a bit of breath, says Sophia. Currently 3 from 4 for Damien McKenzie. Bet you're wearing shorts or PJ bottoms, bro. You called it. The legs are out at the moment. It's 6 degrees Celsius, which I think is why my leg looked purple. Benefits of subscribing, you just pretty much get notified of when we are live or when we do videos on the channel. And we are building towards 54,000. So anyone who does want to help us out, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Jaden Hendrickse now onto the field for the Boks here. So I think that's every sub made by the Boks, whereas New Zealand still have a few that they can make later on in this game. It's going to be kicked off by Ngome Zulu. Awkward one. Leonard Brown manages to slap it back to Damien McKenzie. He'll get a decent clearance away in the end for the amount of pressure that New Zealand put themselves under. Meters juicy, can't burn it, says Vivian. And come on, Quagga, says Vanita there as well. No way they're going for the line, says Harihoni. They did not know. And tell us where the player's taking place relative to the goal line. And the sideline, says DG. So currently it is a line out, 45 metres out from the line for the Springboks. New Zealand making 2 more changes, which will involve Luke Jacobson getting his first game of the Rugby Championship. And then also Bowden Barrett onto the field for Will Jordan. Once again, Will Jordan, though, at 15. People say they want to see him in that 15 jersey, but 2 games in a row now where he's played 15, he hasn't made much of an impact. Now Malcolm Marks going to Ruan Nokia. Jaden Hendricks across to Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu. Nice run forth from Elric Lowe. Some phenomenal numbers throughout the URC for the Vodacom Bulls. Eminent Smith tackled by Taylor and Lomax. And a 2-man tackle, Dialende. The pass has missed. Kicked out of the hands of Vili LaRue. Cleaned up by Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu. New Zealand onto him. Called as a tackle. Barrett going for the counter ruck. Not working. Now here comes Vincent Koch. Tackled by Artie Savia. Can you update the score, please, says Mark. Hopefully, there we go. I've moved my mouse a little bit and it's decided to go. Here comes Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu. Over the ball, Tyrell Lomax. He loses his footing. Quagga Smith short side. Jesse Creel drops it. Vili LaRue drops it. That seems to be a trend that we've had. When someone drops the ball, the next person in the line also ends up dropping that ball. Megan has said Hamish will support the Springboks secretly because his girlfriend, which is me, is a Bockies fan, says Megan Crow. So is it secretly that I support the Springboks or secretly that you're my girlfriend? Because I didn't know about either. Well, I guess I'm very good at keeping a secret then, aren't I? And All Blacks chant, says Glenn. Wants the score, please. The score is currently 13 points to 12 with 19 minutes remaining. That was the most awkward way I've drank water. Megan Shear, says Caitlin there. And dropping is contagious. And hold on to the ball, LaRue and Creel. I'm my own grandmother. Congratulations, I guess. How do you... I don't even want to know how you do that. And now TJ Perenara feeding the ball and 40 metres out on the far side of the field. New Zealand once again in possession. Now going off to the left-hand side, Ioane with the no-look pass. McKenzie goes to Anton, then around Cheslin Colby, lured in off the wing. Bowden Barrett. Vili LaRue knocking the ball down, and it's a knock-on. But it is just a knock-on because he got 2 hands to it. Come on, the Springbok, your pronunciation of the Bok players are great, and your commentary is so neutral. Now we have got there, Caitlin, don't be jealous, says Megan. And we have got Riz Squad, says Itchy Nats. And here come the Bok. I think I said that terribly, but I think that means let's go Boks. But yeah, just gets enough of a hand. Hang on. Oh, they're looking at it. No. Vili LaRue, because he's gone at it with one hand, they might try and ping him here. But he's only got it with one hand because it was close enough to catch it. I think he's going to get pinged for this, Willie le Roux, but I don't know whether he should. There's one hand that close to the ball. He had a realistic chance, did he? I think it's going to be a yellow. No, surely not. At least it's a yellow card. That's massive. That's really big. Because if Willie le Roux, the only reason he went at it with one hand is because when you're running, my other hand's down here. That's a big one. And they will take it, but they won't take it at the same time. That is a massive call against Willie le Roux. Willie le Roux, I should say, not Willie le Roux. That's a big one. That's a very big one. New Zealand now going to line up 3 points. This will give them a lead in this game with 17 minutes to go. We have got the All Blacks, won't mention this one though. Says Nick, yeah, they probably won't. And facts do not care about the feelings, says Mike. But now, Damian McKenzie trying to line up this kick. The crowd are booing. The thing is, if Willie le Roux caught that, he had a try. An interception one down the other end of the field. So I think New Zealand would be considering themselves lucky that he didn't catch it for one because he would have scored. But also, two, now they've got a man advantage. McKenzie has hit the post and it's come back out. Knock on by Decisive, and Jordie Barrett wrestles his way forward and gets the ball back for New Zealand 5 metres from the line. TJ Perenara, a lot of pressure coming from the Springboks here. Lucanio arm ruthlessly looking for that ball. TJ Perenara again goes back across to Tupavai. 22 metres out. New Zealand with the man advantage. They needed to try and get it a little bit further out wide, but Decisive did a brilliant job of shutting down that passing option. Now to the left-hand side, Jordie Barrett finds Bowden, almost the turnover for Lucanio arm. Adi Savia crashing at the line again. TJ Perenara going off to, will be Luke Jacobson. Got his Chiefs underwear on by the looks of it. To Mighty Williams. Runs it straight again. Ruan Nokia looking for the turnover. Can't get it. Quick hands from the ABs. Anton Leonard-Brown moves them within 15 up to 7 phases here for the All Blacks. If they don't score now, they might doubt whether or not they can. McKenzie goes out to Jacobson. Looping around to Jordie Barrett. Step from Taylor. 10 metres still for the All Blacks. Brilliant defence from the Springboks, and Scott Barrett's dropped the ball, but not only that, Quagga Smith has got it now. I think that'll be advantage over for the knock-on. Decisive just standing, takes contact and runs straight through it. Jordie Barrett drives him into the ground 40 metres out from the line. And now the All Blacks will have to defend as the Springboks have got wide open space out wide. Here's Lucanio finds the offload to Damien Dialendi, who's done extremely well to be able to regather. Sasha runs into his teammate. Sam Cane wanted the turnover, can't get it. Jaden Hendrickse goes back across to Damien Dialendi. Malcolm Marks. Decisive, he's had a big game so far. Here comes Cheslin Colby. Man who hasn't touched the ball too much, falls down. Jacobson jumps onto him. Ball's out the back. Hendrickse goes to Vincent Koch again. This is just an all-out express pace kind of game. Charged down by New Zealand. It was Sam Cane who got over the ball. In the breakdown, the Springboks win the penalty on the halfway line with Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu. Scott Barrett is the worst AB's captain ever, says Core there. Come on, boys, says Vanita. But this is now a chance for the Springboks to use up a little bit more time. They don't have to rush this. They can take a three-pointer. Sasha's got the distance, and this would give them a lead by 4 points. Again, how much time is left? There is still another 14 minutes remaining. I think they're actually saying Ruan Nokia is the man who managed to get it. They're going to take on the shot at the post, though. We're going to see it there. Just straight over the ball. I think that was Jaden Hendrickse. I think they decided about 4 different times who it actually was, but I think I saw Hendrickse in there winning the penalty. And intense passage of play here. Neither side wanting to take that backward step. Sasha so far is 1 from 1. This one 52 metres out from the line. What's your score prediction? Says Rhino. My original one was 29 points to 26. And Hamish, please say hi to James for me. Says Caitlin, say hello to James. Who is James? Oh, he's missed it. Is he like your secret husband or something, Caitlin? 13 metres out. 13 minutes remaining now. Why aren't we kicking for the corner instead? They seem to be making decisions that Italy would make. Now, 13 minutes remaining. Still 1 point difference between the two sides, ladies and gents. It's going down to the wire. Damien Delindi goes off to Elric Lowe. Oh, that's big contact from Cody Taylor. And the penalty now for the All Blacks. Tupovai gets in there, gets the turnover. And I love that, says Graggle. And the Box need a man-smashing lethal winger like Ray Mort. And All Blacks all day, it's only a matter of time, says Ross there as well. I am long time no see since the Rugby World Cup, says Ronald. Welcome in. It has been, it's been almost a year. Not a secret, not a husband, but an amazing human, says Caitlin there. So yeah, shout out to James, wherever he may be. I know a couple Jameses with that little comma thing after the S. I'm not who you say hello to, but may I say hello, says Marco. I'm James, just not the James, says James. How many Jameses have we got in the chat? In fact, everyone named James who have your YouTube channel name as James, or even if your name's just James, let us know. How many Jameses have we got? TJ needs to move it. In 10 minutes, says Lizette. Yeah, we are getting into the business end of the competition. No matter what happens here, it's going to be a very close one. Now, throwing that one in, nicely taken by the All Blacks and dropped by Sam Cane, or was it? Yes, it was. Off the back, almost similar to that one in the Rugby World Cup final. James check. And as Lucanio Amon, he certainly is. I am the James, says Vanquish. My cat is called James. That's an interesting name for a cat, but I don't mind it. Commentary is better than watching the game, so good, mate, says Stu. Thank you very much. And we've got plenty more of the Rugby Championship coming. Not James, I'm just a Matt. Now scrum feed for South Africa. This will be 11 minutes remaining now on the shot clock. Why are they playing South Africa twice? I thought it should be 1-1 each country, isn't it? It normally is, but in this case it is 2 in South Africa. To Hamish on behalf of James, says Franz Smith. Thank you very much, mate, for your donation to all the Jameses out there. I'm not James, says Gary. Aren't you? Because I know a Gary whose name is actually James, but he goes by Gary. Bit of a plot twist there. Now the scrum has gone down and the Springboks have got the penalty advantage again. Rough pass there from Damien Dialendi, and they'll go back now for the penalty. That is against Tyrell Lomax for collapsing. New Zealand still have a whole front row that they can bring on, but it seems like they don't want to pull the trigger on it. And Ahmed's on the field. He is indeed. And always fun when you are commentating, says Chantel. Thank you very much. But 2 minutes left of their yellow card. In fact, that is against Ofa Tuangafasi. My apologies. They have made the change. Maybe that's why they were penalised. Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu does put the ball into touch. Anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to now 55,000. So if you do want to help us get there, be sure to hit subscribe. They are screaming for Rassi in the crowd here by the sounds of it. Crowd getting their voices heard, but the steal in the line out from New Zealand. They've now got it back. Anton Leonard-Brown going on the outside. Bowden Barrett, pace for days, goes to Sevu Reece. And we mentioned about Bowden, the impact that he brings, definitely in that second match up against England. Can he do something like that? Be a miracle for New Zealand with the way that they've played here. Geordie Barrett tackled by Gerhard Stennekamp. Malcolm Marks gives away the penalty. He was the second man to go into the breakdown. We listening and travelling to your commentary. Wait, you're travelling to me? Or you might, no, sorry, you're travelling and you're listening, I think, is what it was. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. See, you told you 1K likes in South Africa will have a chance, says James. Deliberate knock on is a yellow card. Why would he deliberately knock it on if he had a chance to score a try, says Andre G. And Dad Bods for the win, says Caitlin. I do fall into that category at the moment, although I'm not a dad, so that's probably, I am just a, what's close to a dad bod when you don't have a child? A bod, I guess. I wish when you come into South Africa, hopefully at some stage, it would be nice. Like, I think if it was not next year, it's kind of next year after that. But Mackenzie now lining up this kick. This will give New Zealand the lead. The fifth penalty of the test. He's missed his last two. Pre-dad bot. I think he's missed it. Yes, he has. He's missed it away, Mackenzie. He's missed his last two. In fact, now his last three. And that is something that could heavily cost New Zealand. Please send a shout out, says Joshua. Shout out to you, mate. Nice line out still from Vai. So impressed with him this game. Yeah, he's really stepped up in this one. A free bod. Says Fluffy, enjoying your commentary. Thank you, says Kyle in there. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. How much time is left? Only 8 minutes remaining now in this game. New Zealand have had multiple chances of taking the lead, but every single time they have missed the opportunity. Now Geordie Barrett receives the ball from Bowden. Scott joins the breakdown. It's a Barrett reunion. TJ Perenara goes back to Vai. Now it's a Chiefs reunion by the looks of it. Getting it out to Bowden Barrett. Chapped in behind. It's charged down by the South Africans and Damien Deleo. Oh, Bowden took a knock to the nose from Rua Nokia there. Now Jaden Hendrickson kicking it in behind. There's a penalty and it goes to where the penalty went to. This is going to be a yellow card for New Zealand and I think that's going to be the game. I think it was Artie Savia who took out Cheslin Colby. They're going to check this one, but that is bad because when you take out a player, it goes to where the kick went to, which is 5 meters out from the South African line. This is massive in this game. Cheslin Colby is down with a shoulder injury at the moment. Average is the best, that's why it is 5.5k. T-Mac running around in circles as usual, but Bowden Barrett tried to kick on behind. Who was it? Artie Savia, was it? No, it was Tyrell Lomax. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was, to be honest, but it's still not great. Tyrell Lomax puts in half a shoulder, and he is going to the bin now, ladies and gentlemen, after a strong game. That now means that Fletcher Null will have very limited minutes in this game. And man, we ain't shift him. It's over. We lost his Harahoni and he held his line, says Yoles, although he did a little bit of that, you know. The thing is, he didn't make a huge difference because New Zealand still had someone back there to cover it. But Tyrell Lomax, he will make his way from the field. And this now looks like this is the chance for the Springboks. I think they take the 3 here. But then at the same time, like, you're 5 meters out from the line maybe, or 10 meters. Whereabouts are they? They're about 15. It looks like they're going to kick this one for the corner. So this is for the win, rather than to try and, I guess, be safe, if that makes sense. They want the full 7. Is this the real score? It is at the moment. 73 minutes and 13 points to 12. TJ's not happy. I think the medic was asking the question. Matthew Carley says, you don't have an opinion, you're the medic. Bury it, says Mr. Allen. But they're going to kick this one for the touchline, ladies and gentlemen. If South Africa score now, this game could be done and dusted. And so would the Rugby Championship and the Freedom Cup. Sasha Feinberg kicks it into touch. This will be about 6 meters out from the line. The All Blacks are lacking a prop, which means if they have to make a sub, that will leave one gap in the back line. This is the worst time for New Zealand. Their discipline has let them down all throughout the game, and it's going to let them down again big time here. Oh, that was almost stolen by Tupovai. But the rolling maul defence from New Zealand, it has held strong throughout this game. This one, though, I think Offa has gone through the middle, similar to what he did last week. But Malcolm Marx on the short side busts away and scores the try. No one on that short side. Sever Reese was half asleep, and Malcolm Marx now becomes the equal to the leading try scorer of the competition alongside Caleb Clark with 6 minutes remaining and a kick to come. Have the Boks just cemented the Freedom Cup? Marks, baby, Malcolm Marks, says MVHR. 7 minutes left, says Sevi, and it's going to feel like an eternity now for New Zealand. But they go on the short side. Sever Reese, where does he go here? He was there He couldn't see it, and he didn't anticipate Malcolm Marx sniping round the side. He's a brilliant player, Marx, and he's shown it yet again there. But a big kick for Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu to kick it would mean that they're ahead by more than 7. And he's missed it, which once again brings late drama to a Springboks versus All Blacks game. I can tell you right now, everyone in the stands with a green and gold kit on wanted that kick to go over. Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu wanted that kick to go over, but it doesn't. Rassi, massive smile on his face after that try. Probably smile faded after that kick missed, as they will know that this is going to be a very close finish now in this game. But New Zealand will have to do it with 14. Beauden Barrett kicks it off short. Nice take from Lucanio. Jacobson went for the ball, knocks it on. And he is frustrated now, giving the Springboks another opportunity with ball in hand at scrum time, which will possibly lead to another penalty. New Zealand scrum hasn't been the strongest. When that guy said, "Are you vetted?" I was so damn close to saying, "I should see my boobs." The Springboks strength and depth is phenomenal, says HV or MVHR in there as well. 5 minutes remaining in this contest. Try, says your Starlight. And Sevu Reece is not even watching yet. Sevu has not had a good game so far, and that is a big concern for New Zealand. They made that big switch of going with Will Jordan at 15. It didn't really work. As God's work, we stand together, we will succeed. I tell you, Mandela will be smiling from heaven, says Lee. And there as well. Are we over there? We got this, says Valdo, and Sack Razor, says Ollie. Razor must be replaced, says GB. Are we over there? Amish, you got something to tell us in the Discord? Not that I know of. I thank you, God, says succeed. But now 5 minutes remaining. Jaden Hendrickse puts the ball in. It's going to be standing solid. And Jaden Hendrickse now going to use it to the right-hand side. Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu goes straight through. TJ Perenara misses the tackle. Grub it, but it's gone into touch. He just got too much juice on it. 4 minutes remaining now in this match, ladies and gentlemen. What is the correct time? It is 76 minutes in this game. No last-minute heart attacks from Box this game. Fingers crossed. Well, I'm gender fluid, so technically I am trans. Says at scrum last there. Why does the coach remove Reece? He's killing the game. Or why doesn't he remove him? Yeah, they did make the change of Talia instead. But I just feel like it was one of those ones that you couldn't afford to have Reece and Talia on the field, and the All Blacks have found that out. They're yet to score a try, which is quite extraordinary. Oh, he's trying to hold it in there. Eldrick Lowe. TJ asking for the penalty. He should have learned his lesson from last week. Now McKenzie will kick this one high. He went for the up and under. It's gone just outside of the 22. Colby gets it. Was it forward? No. It's going to be play on. Look, Kanyuam gets over the ball. Jacobson trying to get the turnover, but he can't. Jaden Hendrickse, if the Springboks get a drop kick, that will give them a lead of more than the 7 points. Now Jaden Hendrickse going down to Gerhard Stennekamp around the breakdown. Peter Steftatoy 10 metres out from the line. This will be to secure the game for the Springboks if they can score right now. Savia, desperation, can't get the turnover. Looks like he's getting his leg broken at the moment of the way that Etzebeth's lying on it. Now Hendrickse goes off to Vincent Koch on the short side. They are smart to target Reece's wing. The man's hardly done anything all day. Now Offa making the tackle 10 metres from the line. Jaden Hendrickse goes off to Quaka Smith, Mr. Impact himself. New Zealand, they just haven't been able to get that possession back in the last little while. Ball security of the box has been formidable. 10 phases in. Quagga again gets another carry there. 5 metres from the line. Back into the pocket for Chisel and Colby. And he shanked it. He's missed it from 15 out, if not closer. Chisel and Colby couldn't do a Kieran Frawley. Too soon? Probably too soon. 2 minutes remaining now. Right, Matthew Carley has just said, shut TJ up before I do. I'll send him off the field if he keeps yapping in my eardrums. Come on the box, here's Carmen. But Beauden Barrett now. Do the All Blacks go quickly? They've been told to play it now. They give it off to Damian McKenzie. 1 minute 30 remaining. Big kick downfield. Villy LaRue goes across to Sasha. The crowd are edging him on to try and go for the drop kick, but instead he's kicked it downfield. Oh, he's just knocked it on there, Sasha. And they'll go back now for the scrum. Hi, Hamish. In the chat from 123 MS. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. Anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 55,000, and we have got many, many people watching at the moment. So if you do want to help us get there, be sure to hit that subscribe button. The yellow card will remain a yellow card that I've just mentioned. It's that loud at the moment. Scott Barrett can't even hear what Matthew Carley is saying. But 1 minute remaining. This is the same as last week. And McKenzie isn't kicking well, so if New Zealand do somehow score, you're in that situation of, will they even be able to get the conversion over? Look at there, hey Hamish. And stop kicking the ball, damn ball ABs. In this situation last week, this is where Beauden Barrett was going for the chips in behind. Has he learnt his lesson? And are the All Blacks going to run this one? They haven't scored a try throughout this whole match. I should clarify. They were the leading try scorers in the comp up until this game. TJ Perenara goes back across to Geordie Barrett. Tries to run it flat. A turnover here for the Springboks would win them this game. Artie Savia tries to go over the top of Eldrick Lowe. Super sub. Quagga Smith loses possession. Now Anton Leonard-Brown running it forward. He's lurking there, Quagga. He knows that he wants that last minute turnover. Big shot on Geordie Barrett, but the All Blacks have got the penalty advantage. Beauden goes across to Anton Leonard-Brown. And they'll go back for the original penalty. Where on the field are they? The All Blacks are still 35 metres out from their own line. Scott Robinson, he is nervous. 6 seconds remaining now in this match. Wondering if might know the breakdown of viewers' location. Interesting to know how many from New Zealand versus South Africa. I believe we have more South African viewers than New Zealand for sure. The Springboks game, says Mildred. The full-time siren is just sounding. Geordie Barrett boots it into touch. New Zealand will have the line out 42 metres out from the Springboks line. Now we wait for the final moments of this contest, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a long one, and it's been an intense one from start to finish. Cody Taylor out there on the field ever since coming back from his HIA. Where do New Zealand go here? They go to the front and slapped away by the Springboks. Ruan Nokia kicks it into touch, and the Boks make it 2 from 2. The Freedom Cup is going back to South Africa for the first time in 15 years, and there is not one person in the Cape Town Stadium stands that is not on their feet. Right on the Bok heads up ABs. We can only go up from here. Says after, so the Springboks, they will retain their #1 spot in the world rankings. They will go into the Rugby Championship last 2 rounds confident that they cannot lose this competition, and they've got the job done. No tries for New Zealand in this game. A big hug from the South Africans. Sia Khaleesi scoring that first try. Second try for Malcolm Marx, which we never actually updated on the bottom. That's how much of an intense game it was. As soon as we were locked in for those last 10 minutes, it was hard to get out of it. Thanks for the commentary. Congrats, Box. Says Paul by making it 2 from 2 on home soil. Both games within 7 between these two sides. And we're even at our worst. They can't beat us. Says Sandoy. Congrats, Box. Says Katie there. Got the fist from Jacqueline. It sounds dodgy. And sorry, ABs, better luck next time. You guys rocked. And proud of your Box, says Alana. And thanks for your commentary, Hamish. Go the Bok. And cheers, Hamish. Quality as always. So the Springboks now get themselves the Rugby Championship title, because there is no way for anyone to be able to catch them over the last 2 rounds. GD, both teams, congrats. Box is coming home. And Springboks are just better right now, it says David Vickers. They've found a beautiful vein of form, and they continue to thrive since their Rugby World Cup. They heard the naysayers saying, why do they only win the Rugby World Cup and then not Rugby Championships? They've just shut all of those people up for this season. Has ABs not learnt their lesson? Don't mess with the best team in the world ever. I mean, they do have to still play them, though, as they are in the competition. And same thing, Hamish and Scrum Lads for being savage, says Caitlin there. Once again, big shout out to James, wherever you may be in the world. Good on you. Thanks, mate. Great commentary, says Isaac. First time listening from Austria. How many years have All Blacks won on South African soil? Says Ventinea. So this is now the longest losing streak for the New Zealanders up against South Africa in professional rugby history. Now, their longest ever was way back in the day. We're talking 1930s, 1940s. But we've got 2 more games coming up just around the corner, and that is going to be next year. We have to wait a year, but saying that, the Rugby World Cup was 1 year ago, which means that we will be at these next games before we do it. A best ever is highly wrong. And first time since 1949, says Dehan. Always great entertainment, these 2 teams, and always love the commentary, says Natasha. And great commentary, Partial. Thanks for trying to pronounce the Afrikaans names. Congrats, Hamish. Or congrats, Box, sorry. Good game, New Zealand. Thanks, Hamish. Good commentary. And this was insane, says Voldo. Yeah. From start to finish, it just felt intense. And it felt like there was always going to be one of those ones that was split by such a thin margin. I predicted, I got it wrong again. First game, I predicted Springboks to win by 2. They won by 4. So they doubled what I said the prediction would be. Next game, I predicted them to win by 3. They won by 6. Once again, doubling what I say. So whatever I say, I just got to double it, and then I'd actually be right. We got another donation. Thank you very much, Philip J. Smith. Hugely appreciated. Hamish, I see the green on you, says Caitlin. Where? Hang on. You guys can't. Yeah, I do. I actually do have like a green strap on my underwear. So how do you see that? Suspicious. Have you played rugby when you were younger? And if you did, what position? I was out on the wing, but I hardly touched the ball because we had a very greedy 9 and a very greedy 10. And one of their dads was the coach. So he said, don't pass, just run it yourself. So I think I touched the ball twice over 2 seasons and I scored 1 try. And then I hanged up my rugby boots. I just keep on making these predictions. Keep on winning, says Vanquish. You make those stats sound great, says Basil. And also, we're good there. Have you played rugby? Oh, no, I read that one, didn't I? Millie, will you marry? Who's Millie? Whoever Millie is, are you sitting with her, Byron? Because if you are, this is a monumental moment, ladies and gentlemen. Byron has popped the question. I don't know who Millie is, but Millie, Byron likes you, you know. He likes you so much that he would say it on a random rugby live stream that I don't even know if you watch, but that's love, you know. Sorry, next time, says Valdo. Kind of sus, says Vanquish there. There we are. The champions love it. Congrats, Bot. Great game. And also great Green Jocks. And I wish explain again, benefit of subscribing. So pretty much you get notified when we do videos. You get notified of all that kind of good stuff along those lines. We've also got a few videos that will be coming out throughout the week involving such as predictions for what we will see upcoming in the Rugby Championship in terms of what my Springboks XV would be heading into Argentina in terms of if you were putting together the strongest side. We have good there. I mean, the South Africa green and gold, of course. Okay. Yeah, I haven't got much green. Oh, sorry, I do have a bit of gold. I have shorts on that have yellow on them. So I've pretty much got all the South African colours on myself. Enjoy the handiwork Hamish does. You can afford it by supporting him. That's the benefit, says Sander. And also we have got their proud ABs. Give it their all. Glad we didn't lose by 35 like in Twickenham last year, sorry. We went toe-to-toe with world champs twice. You can hold their heads up high. Lad, will you marry me, says Jackson. Well, Jackson, in a moment like this on a random live stream, probably I'd have to decline you at this stage. Sorry, Jackson. But your name has James in it. I've just clicked. You're not the James though, are you, James? There was a lot of Jameses in a row. But we were talking about a James earlier on. And the fact that your name is James, well, your last name is James, is a perfect circle of like random conversations we have had throughout this live stream. Big love, y'all. We have there what a contest is won. Yeah, very close. Tune in next time to find out what type of pants Hamish is wearing, says Caitlin. And well done the box. I should mention next time is just around the corner, not for the pants showing, but for the next Rugby Championship game. It is going to be taking place between Australia and Argentina, and it is not too far away, ladies and gents, so be sure to check it out as well. Nonetheless, I think we are at the end of this live stream, ladies and gents. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It is greatly appreciated, all the support we've had throughout this 2-match series. We're going to have plenty more action coming just around the corner between Argentina and South Africa. Great commentary, thanks, says Randa there. Razor is good. Players just that composure under pressure, says Yowza. Yeah, New Zealand look lost out there on the field. And I'll be honest, South Africa, they also, I feel like they would have been a bit disappointed with how that first half went. But second half, again, the bench were the ones who made that impact. Quagga Smith, Eldrick Lowe, some fantastic running from that man. However, they wanted James bring a ladder to the rugby game because he heard the crowd was going wild and wanted to climb to the top of the commentary, says Christopher there. And also we have got there, sounds dodgy. Says Gary, the best team in the world is the best team. Suck it up. Says World Chance twice. And screen the mods, questionable modders. I accidentally just winked there, but it was a twitch of my eye, I swear. Have fun now, cry later, says Samoan Lad. Although we will be doing a review of this match just around the corner, so be sure to check that out as well, ladies and gents. But nonetheless, do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like. Subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 55,000. We've also got the matchup between Australia and Argentina that has taken place 2 years, or not, I almost said 2 years, but 2 weeks' time. We are going to have the next game for the Springboks and the All Blacks. They are taking on other teams in the Rugby Championship. But some of the stats they're just showing, 12 and 12 for the penalty or the turnovers. Penalties were 13 and 13, so extremely close in that regard. But Mackenzie only 4 from 6 today. In fact, he was 4 from 7. So those points could have been crucial in the long run of this contest. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, like I said. And I'll see you all for the next one.